right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a special LAFB Network mock draft here. If you're joining us on this YouTube video, this is not the Brady Bunch. This is not Hollywood Squares. This is a very special edition of the LAFB Network 2022 mock draft. We got a lot of friends here who work on the LAFB Network. Really quick, we're going to cycle through everybody. The guy to my left, I guess, if I'm pointing that way, the boss, you guys know him, Ryan Dyrud. Why don't you give us a quick intro here?
What is up, fellas? You didn't even give yourself credit, though. Hosted by the Desai Guys. So thanks, Amar and Tad, for setting it up and hosting it. Excited to be with the gang, talking draft. For those that don't know, I host the LA Football Show on the LA Football Network. But excited to be with you guys. Let's drink some good drinks and talk some football. Pumped.
Wait, we're drinking?
I got
Should be good fun
of
here.
tequila right here, yeah.
Oh,
Should be
man.
good
All
fun.
right.
Move to the guy.
I might be right back.
Move to the guy right next to him, Will Decker. Give yourself an intro here.
Man, just stoked to be a part of the Desai Guys. Do the Draft is in Session podcast for LAFB and do the Bruin Bible. But draft season's the best. Looking forward to seeing everyone's picks.
Awesome. Let's go right below him. We got Dan Wilkenstein. What's going on, Dan?
What's going on, guys? Dan Wilkenstein from Chargers Unleashed. Me and alongside Jake Hefner do a Chargers podcast. Pumped to be here with you guys. Excited for this pick. I'll be doing a few teams along with a few other people who are also doing a few teams. But let's get the thing rolling.
Yeah, definitely. Right next to him, we got Alfred Rowe. What's going on, Alfred?
Hey, what's up, guys? How everybody doing? I do the Salute to Troy podcast with LAFB. I'm one of the other guys with multiple picks. A lot of surprises you guys will see a little bit later. Can't wait to have some fun.
Yeah, everybody here has got multiple teams, so I think that's for sure. It's going to be a lot of fun here. Next to him, I think you guys know Tad, but Tad goes an intro anyways.
Hey, guys. Tad Desai, co-host of the Desai Guys. And, honestly, guys, I am this might sound a little cheesy. I am touched that this many people showed up. I am so excited that we got to do this. Last time the LAFB Network did this, we were called Sports Al Dente. That's how long it has been since we did this. It was funny. I was actually looking this up earlier today. April 25th, 2018 was the last time we did this. So I'm excited we're kicking this off again. Thank you everyone for joining. And despite me looking like a weird Star Wars pilot, I'm very excited to be here.
Red Leader checking in.
I was just about to say, I feel like I should be like calling someone Red 1.
All right, let's move along here. Right below Tad, we got Ryan Anderson. What's going on, Ryan? How you doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic. I'm the Rams beat writer for the Los Angeles Football Network. I was a part of the Sports Al Dente team way back when. So happy to be here this time. I'm making picks for the Patriots and the Texans this year, and it's exciting because Rams haven't had a first pick as long as I can remember. So
Rams are going to have a first round pick till we're all 50.
Very true. And last but certainly not least, we got our man Steven Haglund. What's going on, Steven?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I am the managing editor for the Chargers portion of LAFB, and I, selfish plug here, host the Guilty as Charged podcast. So check us out there.
Really good podcast there. You guys do a lot of great work on the Guilty as Charged podcast and lots of great content.
Also, real quick shout out. All these guys are awesome. Follow us on Twitter, but Steven is a especially good Twitter follow. Every time I'm like, I'm not going to favorite it. He's going to think I'm stalking him. Like, nope, that's just the way he does it.
I appreciate that, man. Favorites are always appreciated.
Your movie takes are just too good, man.
Everybody here does a lot of great content for the LAFB Network, but yeah, appreciate everybody joining on for this mock draft. Really quick, we've been wheeling and dealing this entire day, even the last couple of days, so we're going to cover some of the trades that have happened, lots of big moves before we actually get into the draft. So first one involves Tad's Colts. He has traded number 42 overall, number 122 overall, and a 2023 third-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles for their number 18 overall selection in this year's draft. Moving along, we just heard news that Deebo Samuel wants to be traded. So, hey, I made the trade already. So I traded away Deebo Samuel to the Green Bay Packers for the number 28 overall selection and the number 53 overall selection. DK Metcalf also gets moved in our draft here. He gets moved to the Kansas City Chiefs for the number 29 overall pick. So he'll be pairing up with Juju Smith-Schuster and Patrick Mahomes in an electric offense there. And then lastly, this was a pretty big one as well that just happened maybe about 30 minutes ago. The Saints have given up number 16 overall, number 161 overall, Alvin Kamara, to the Houston Texans for the number 3 overall pick. So the Saints are now in the top 3. So it was wild. It's crazy. There may be some more trades that are going to happen as we go along here. But guys, I think we're ready to kick this off. What do you guys say?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Do it.
All right. So obviously, first on the clock, we haven't made any changes here. Trent Baalke has said that the number 1 overall pick was available for discussion for trades, but he is staying here. We're going to start with Alfred. He's got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Alfred, my man, you are on the clock.
Alfred with the Jacksonville Jaguars. 2 minutes and 15 seconds begins now.
All right, I'll string you guys along a little bit.
Hey, let me ask you this. Let me just ask you this, Alfred. Is this the first year you can remember in a while where, like, the first overall pick was not a given? Like, I can't remember in the last couple of years where it's been any debate.
I think
There's kind of some debate.
Eric Fisher was the last year. I don't know what year that was, but that was the last year
that
where
was like
things were
10
kind of
years
up in the
ago.
air. Yeah.
Well,
Was that 10 years ago?
put it like
Jesus.
this: it shouldn't be a debate, but the team that has the first overall pick, it sets a dumpster fire internally. It's like, who do you go with? But it shouldn't be a debate.
Okay, so you're gonna put the debate to bed right here. I take it.
I love the fact that we have a guy named Alfred in here because I feel like we're just talking Batman's butler.
You know what? A lot of people call me Albert, and I always say it's Alfred, like Batman's butler. It's easiest way to remember
There you
it.
go.
All right. Well, Albert, you have 1 minute, 30 seconds left.
The first overall pick, I'm going to take Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan.
All right.
All right,
Right, so
so
you think
let's
it's
pass
Jock,
it here.
Jock.
Let's pass it here to Steven. What do you think about that pick of Aiden Hutchinson?
Yeah, I think it's a complete no-brainer like Alfred. I think Trayvon Walker should not even be considered a top 10 selection at this point. So that's kind of ridiculous to me. So Aiden Hutchinson, best player in the draft for my money, and I absolutely agree with the pick there.
Okay, I'm going to pass it to Will here. So obviously we're seeing this rise in Trayvon Walker. So do you think he's worthy of the number 1 selection, or is it a clear cut here the Jaguars took Aiden Hutchinson? Like, is there still a debate?
No, I think it's Aiden Hutchinson. Walker, just slid up the board due to the measurables and what he produced in a combine-like atmosphere. Aiden Hutchinson's a culture changer. He's the guy that got Michigan over the top against Ohio State. He played his best in big moments for Michigan. Obviously, the Georgia game was, a little tougher than expected, but this guy is going to come in and be a leader from day one. And, he may not have the superstar status we're used to seeing with the number 1 overall pick, but this guy is going to be a very solid player if he stays healthy for a decade.
There you go. There you go. All right, so Aiden Hutchinson, number 1 overall pick in our draft here. We're going to move on to the number 2 selection, and that's the Detroit Lions, which is actually my selection here. So, kind of similar to the Jacksonville Jaguars
All
here.
right,
I mean, they
real
got-
quick, Amar, do you want me to start the clock?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. We need to be official about this, man.
Get on the
All
clock.
right. You are starting now.
Now you can
So, very similar to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Detroit Lions have a lot of holes on their entire roster. So it's almost like they can go in any direction that they want to sort of fill some needs. Definitely they can upgrade the defense. They went last year with Penei Sewell, so they were able to upgrade the offensive line. Still could use some upgrades on the offensive line. They need a guy to pair up with Amon-Ra St. Brown on the outside at a wide receiver position. But at number 2, that may be a little bit too early to go receiver in my book. I don't think they're sold on Jared Goff. I think they want to stopgap him for maybe another year. We'll see about that. Maybe they address that later in this round. They do have the number 32 selection. Maybe they address it later in the draft, or they just push it a year and they go with Jared Goff 1 more year. For me, though, I know we were sort of debating this kind of with Aiden Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker at number 1, but I think the Lions go with the extra pick there, and I think they go with that upside, and they select Trayvon Walker out of the University of Georgia, the edge rusher there. I think they like the upside. They like to pair him up with Romeo Okwara and Julian Okwara. So I know it's a bit of a riskier pick, but I think, based on what I'm seeing on what the Lions need, the Detroit Lions, I think they go with the upside pick here. But, yeah, I'm looking for somebody to sort of argue this pick, so let's go with Ryan Anderson. What do you think about this pick of Trayvon Walker here at number 2?
I think with the team needs of the Lions all over the place, this is a fine answer. Not the answer I would have gone with. I think there are better edge rushers in this class still. He's risen quite a bit. Kayvon Thibodeau still up there. That that's a guy, we're going to have to watch out for. I mean, even George Karlaftis, I probably would have gone for over this guy. So I don't know. If I'm going to go defensive side, I don't know if this is the guy I'm going to go for. I'm an offensive guy. I would have nailed something offensive weapon for him early on. Even if you're going to reach, that's where I'm reaching. I'm reaching for a wide receiver here.
So which receiver are you reaching for?
That's a good question. Let me take a look. I mean, Jameson Wilson's right at the top there. I love Drake London, though.
Wow. So none of the Ohio State guys.
I mean, they're not at the top of my board, but I mean, there's a lot of really good receivers. I don't think you can go wrong there. I like Drake London a lot. I like Jameson there as well.
Okay, really quick, I want to push it to Steven here because I saw you shaking your head a lot when Ryan Anderson, George Karlaftis. Do you really think he could go this high, though? I want to get your thoughts here.
George Karlaftis, that is?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I don't think George Karlaftis is a top 2 pick either.
Okay, got it.
I just think that Travon Walker, man, like I fully understand that he is, a unique one-of-one athlete, and that's great. But my man was 150th in pass rush win rate this past season, which is worse than Neil Farrell, who's a 5th-round projected nose tackle. So I fully understand the athleticism. The traits are fantastic. I've had the same conversation with Jordan Davis. I think to be a top 10 pick, you need to have elite production, elite film, and elite athletic traits. And Travon Walker only has the traits. So I personally would not take Travon Walker with the top 10 pick, nor would I take Jordan Davis with the top 25 pick. But that's just me.
All right, Alfred, you definitely got your 2 cents here. Bring it to us.
So the thing that worries me about Travon Walker is the defensive scheme that he comes out of.
Yeah.
He was a stand-up rush in. Now he might be asked to put his hand in the dirt, and he has to go inside where it's really loud inside. So, I mean, I wouldn't put my eggs in the basket for somebody like that. If they go to that 3-4 rush off the edge scheme with him standing up, he'll be fine. But if he has to put his hand in his dirt, he's a draft bust.
All right, and we'll close this out as we can move this along here.
Yeah, I think the pick is, for me personally, just obviously Thibodeau. I think he has the highest ceiling of any of the edge rushers. Like, if everything went well for him in his career, he would be the guy that I would circle here. He has a 91 pass rush grade from PFF. He had a 19% pass rush win rate in his career. That's the highest over the last 3 years when you combine all the factors. Give me Thibodeau here. His bend is elite, and I think this guy's a star if he can reach his potential.
But Will, according to Dan Campbell, he doesn't fit the culture.
Man, well, Dan Campbell.
That report has been refuted, by the way.
Has it really? I actually didn't see that.
Thibodeau was with Davian Clowney. Don't put your eggs on the basketball.
Hey, Kayvon just doesn't like eating those knees.
I think what it is. So yeah, it is a little bit of a controversial pick, but I could very much see that happening based on the rise that Travon Walker has been having this entire draft season so far. So it could happen. So we got Aiden Hutchinson at number 1. We got Travon Walker at number 2. Now we're going to go based on the trade that we have. The Saints are now at the number 3 selection here with my man Tad making this selection. So take it away, Tad.
All right, so I'm going to start my clock here. I'm going to spend most of my time actually justifying this trade. So first things first is the New Orleans Saints, I think, made this trade, made the original trade with the Eagles to get their second first-round pick because of their cap reasons. Me and Amar were talking about this in last night's episode, which you can check out on LAFB YouTube, so be sure to check that out there. The Saints have been in cap hell for what seems like a decade now, and they are in no way going to get out of that soon. So they need to find a cheap way to get talent. So I don't actually see them realistically sitting at 16 and 19. I think they will try to trade up for someone. Now, are they going to trade up this big? They should, which is why I did this trade, but I'm not sure they will. So this is the whole reason I trade Kamara as well. So first off, I fully expect, I'm at 130 by the way, I fully expect him to serve at least an 8-game suspension because of what happened in Vegas during the Pro Bowl. If you look at the pictures of what he did to that person, it's bad. He has no justification for what he did. It's going to be a big-time suspension. So already the Texans have a running back that they just traded for that they're not going to have for most of next season. So that's right there. Also, giving a running back a big-time contract, not a good idea. Unless it's Derrick Henry, that level, and Kamara's good. Don't get me wrong, Kamara's good. But I think if you give him a big-time contract that he's soon going to be asking for, that's a mistake. So that is why just load him off, find a cheap running back talent. You can make it work with no-name running backs. We've seen that with the Chiefs. We've seen that with other teams. I'm at 30 seconds. So all this to say, the Saints trade up because these tackles are about to start flying off the board. I want my tackle of the future. That is one of the most important positions in football. So I'm between Icky and I'm between Evan Neal. The New Orleans Saints select Evan Neal.
Interesting. The reasoning behind that. All right, well let's get somebody else's opinion here as to the debate between Ika Mekwonu and Evan Neal. So Dan, we haven't heard from you yet. What do you think about the debate here?
Oh man! All right, so really, it kind of depends on what flavor you're into. Are you wanting an offensive tackle that can that can pass, block the run or the pass? And honestly, Evan Neal for me is probably more of kind of the run grader in my opinion. I probably would take him if I'm looking for a run blocking guy. But honestly, you can't go wrong with either one of these two. It really just depends on what you need. And for a team that needs a run blocking offensive tackle who can also obviously pass block, Evan Neal's your guy.
Okay, let's pass it to Will here. What are your thoughts on the debate between Ekwonu and Evan Neal?
Well, Ekwonu had the best run film I've seen this year. Just he was body slamming guys on the defensive line that were coming his way.
My bad. I totally flipped the names. My bad.
Oh, so wait, you're going Kwanu?
I was a little confused there. I was like,
man.
I flipped the names. I'm sorry.
Evan Neal, the thing that I like about Evan Neal is he's the best at both. So he's very good at pass and rush blocking when it comes down to it. Charles Cross might be a better pass blocker than Evan Neal, but when you combine the pass blocking and the run grade and just how serious he took his body, I mean, look at the sculpted photos he's gotten down to at 6'7", 300 plus at the combine. This guy, he's a left tackle that, is going to make a name for himself in the league. I have him listed as my number one tackle, so I think this was a very good pick for the Saints.
Awesome.
Real quick. Let's go. Steven, grade the Saints trade.
I'm a fan. I mean, I think, giving up a running back like Alvin Kamara is a little dicey because I think he is one of the guys that I think is worthy of a big contract because he's such a good pass catcher. But I mean, you trade up and get an elite tackle. I happen to think Ike Ekwonu is the best tackle in the draft, but Evan Neal very close behind him. So I think, the Saints, who consider themselves to be in a win now mode kind of world, getting Evan Neal is a very good value. And you can replace Alvin Kamara with, somebody in the draft later on.
Nailed it.
That's very true.
I like it, Tad. I like the move.
Thank you, Ryan. See, I got the approval from the boss. That's all that matters.
No, but Al, why do you strongly disagree?
You can't replace the Kamara. You can't replace the
But
Kamara.
yes, you can. Get out of here. Yes, you can.
You cannot
Austin
replace
Eckler was
the
literally undrafted, my man.
Yeah, but you're telling me that you could replace the
Where
Kamara.
do you find
Where do you
And
find it?
Armstead left too.
Rashad
which is
White,
not
Ty
being talked
Chandler.
about enough.
That's a big thing that I did not mention in my analysis is if Armstead
Aaron
stayed,
Armstead's not,
I would
so-
never have made this trade. Armstead gone is a massive hole in that. I will do this. I made the same bet with Amar last night in our episode. Give me $5. I will give anyone $5 if they can name the Saints' current left tackle right now.
Landon Young.
Nope. I rest my case. It's James Hurst, by the way.
You still can't replace the Kamara.
Yeah, well, you can't replace Teron Armstead either, but I just
I hear what
did.
you're saying, but you can't replace the Kamara. Kamara's a Pro Bowler, All Pro. I mean, you said Austin Eckler, but Austin
Mitchell
Kamara-
Trubisky was a Pro Bowler.
You can't replace a Kamara. Defensively, you have to guard Kamara playing receiver, playing running back. He does so much stuff where you can't replace that. You're not going to find that. You'll get very lucky to find a Kamara in the draft.
He's also probably not playing.
Fourth pick.
That's a different situation. That's a different
Alvin Kamara was a
situation.
fourth rounder, though.
You have to get very lucky to find a Kamara in the draft. There's not very many Kamaras in the NFL.
Just
Not-
how the running back
I'll take that
position's
James Cook for
commoditized
free.
nowadays, I would rather get an offensive lineman than a running back. And if that's their guy, Evan Neal, I'd say go for it.
It's a very interesting trade for sure. I think there's very differing opinions clearly on this one. But yeah,
one thing
the
I'll
deal is
say,
done.
one thing I'll say, just to chime in here, is
Mhm.
I agree to an extent with Alfred that it's very hard to replace a Kamara, but I also think a guy like Kamara would never get valued at a third overall pick. So in real life, I don't think a team would trade their third overall pick for a guy like Kamara, who is quote unquote irreplaceable. So it's a very interesting dichotomy of like which value is more valued. And hey, but this is fun. This is great.
This is why we do it.
Exactly. Got some fun here. So now we're going to move along here. We got the number 4 selection with the New York Jets, and that is my selection.
All right, Murray, you are on the clock, buddy.
Okay. So, yeah, Jets, they need some help all over the place, too. I mean, there's a reason why these teams are in the top 5, top 10, whatever you want to call it. The Jets recorded only the second fewest interceptions in the NFL last season, and they allowed the third most passing yards. So, I mean, they definitely need some upgrade in the secondary. Their current starters at both corner positions are DJ Reed and Bryce Hall. I mean, that's not scaring any other opposing offenses, so they definitely need to make an upgrade here. I think what they need to do is they need to bring in the shutdown corner out of Cincinnati, the guy that's rising up all the boards here, and that's Ahmad Sauce Gardner. You bring in a shutdown corner like Gardner, I think that contains a lot of the top offenses in the league, brings a little bit more credibility to your secondary. They still need to make some upgrades across the rest of their defense as well, but I think you anchor a secondary position at the corner position with Ahmad Sauce Gardner. I think that just gives you a little bit of a boost to your defense, especially with a guy like Robert Saleh being the head coach. Coach him up. I think that'll be an excellent signing there, or drafting, of Ahmad Sauce Gardner there. The way that he's been shooting up, I think he's going to be an excellent pick there. So let's move around here. Tad, what are your takes on Ahmad Sauce Gardner? A, being the first corner taken off the board, and then B, going in the top 5 here to the New York Jets here at number 4.
So I like him as the first corner. I do believe he is the most talented corner in this year's class, and we kind of talked about this, previously on the Desai Guys podcast, where I don't love him number 4, but I understand why the Jets would do this because they do need a corner. I think they should go Thibodeau. I'm very glad that Will agrees with me that Thibodeau is a talented player. He is a much smarter man than I am when it comes to the draft, so it's nice to get a little back up there. But I think they should go Thibodeau here, but here's the deal. Gardner's not going to be there at 10. He's not. Someone's either going to trade up or the Panthers are going to take him at 6. He's not going to be there. So if you need to reach a little bit to get what you believe is a shutdown corner, which is a valuable commodity. We were just talking about this with, tackles with the Saints, is tackle, corner, quarterback. Those are the 3 most valuable positions in football. So if you really believe that Sauce Gardner is your shutdown corner of the future, your next Darrelle Revis, reach for him a little bit at 4. No one's going to judge you in 5 years from now that you did that. So is it a bit of a reach? In my opinion, yes, but it's a reach that is easily justifiable.
All right, we're going to shoot it over here to Ryan Anderson because his dog, I think...
I was just about to give the dog a shout out.
Gardner at number 4.
Got a lot of opinions about Sauce
I'm pretty sure he
Gardner.
does. But what are your thoughts here at Ahmad Sauce Gardner at number 4 to the Jets?
I lean Stingley. I prefer Stingley.
Okay.
I think that level of competition in the SEC just proves that he's a cut above Sauce Gardner, being able to be a shutdown corner at that level. I think that when you're a shutdown corner and you're in Cincinnati, it's a little easier.
So are you not worried that the best tape that he has is about, 2 years old now?
I'm not worried. I think that the instincts show that he's a fantastic quarterback.
Okay, really quick, let's pass it to Will here. What are your thoughts here at number 4 here?
Sauce is a great prospect. I, think he's worthy of a top 10 pick, but I have Stingley personally as my number 1 corner. This guy put together arguably the most impressive cornerback season in SEC history as an 18-year-old. And he knowingly had 2 years to wait until he can even declare for the NFL draft. So, was it perfect the next 2 years? No, but he was also probably playing, consciously saying, hey, I got to protect my body going to the NFL. Whether you think that's right or wrong, may it be. But, this guy he's the highest graded corner in the PFF era, for the SEC. This guy's a stud. I think he's flat out a star when it happens. I think there's 3 or 4 stars in this draft, and I think he's one of them. I would be going Stingley in this situation, but I understand a guy like Sauce especially with Salah being there. You know, Salah had Richard Sherman in San Francisco, you know, to kind of be his number one corner out there on an island. Sauce Gardner's measurables, you know, are very similar to that of a Richard Sherman. So I could see it.
Okay. All right. Let's move into number 5 here. We got the other New York team, and the boss man is on the clock. Ryan Dyrud with the New York Giants.
All right, Ryan, you are on the clock starting now.
All right, I won't take too much of my time. Like, I won't tell a story like Tad ahead of time, but yeah, the Giants
I had
have
to
so many-
justify the trade, man. The people are going to yell at me on Reddit.
Smart man.
Justify it on Reddit then.
I think the Giants, though, are you know, they're sitting in a good spot at 5 and 7 because they have so many needs, and no matter which way the board falls, they're going to get a guy that's probably going to start day one. I mean, the way our draft's falling, though, they're going to get, in my opinion, the best tackle in the draft. I won't say the name yet, so we'll see who that comes, but I think a lot of people will probably agree. But, you know, getting Andrew Thomas 2 years ago, who had a rough rookie year, and I thought he improved last year, so now you get another tackle on the bookend to really shore up because they seem to be committed to Daniel Jones at quarterback, and so they really need to protect him, plus give some blocking to Saquon Barkley if he has any shot of sticking around. I know there's been rumors of trades, but nothing happening yet. So I think they go Ike Ekwonu there at the tackle position. Probably the best, like Will said, the best run blocking tackle. Andrew Thomas is not the best run blocking, better in pass blocking, so they kind of get some of that diversification, if you will, at the two tackle positions. And then luckily sitting there at 7, when I'll be talking again in a minute, they can really shore up another need. So I just think they're in a good spot. I think no matter how the board falls, they're going to get someone they need because they have holes everywhere. So we'll go sticky icky there at pick number 5.
Right on. So, yeah, based on how the board plays out, Ike Ekwonu, they get a bookend tackle there, exactly like you said. Alfred, I want to pass it to you here. Just, yeah, what do you think about the pick?
I mean, like it's been stated before, quarterback, offensive tackle, right? This is one of the few drafts where a lot of positions are super loaded. Even if you go second or third round, you still got potential to be a star, and that's one of the things in the tackle spot. You can't miss there. The top 5 tackles in this draft, you can't miss. So, I mean, it now is just what time tell.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't think there's any further analysis on this pick. I think it's a pretty set pick. It's a pretty good pick, especially for the New York Giants. So, yeah, really quick, just going to share the board here. So we got Aiden Hutchinson at number 1, Travon Walker at number 2. We got Evan Neal at number 3, Ahmad Sauce Gardner at number 4. And then we got the Giants just recently taking Ike Ekwonu out of North Carolina State. So now we're going to move into the number 6 pick with the Carolina Panthers. We got my man Alfred Rowe on the clock now. So, Alfred, take it away.
All right, Alfred, you're on the clock starting now.
Having some ridiculous trades come in, so you gotta.
I forgot.
So just to let everybody else know out there, we do have a Slack open for people to submit trade offers, and so that's why there's a little bit of chuckling going on because there was a ridiculous trade that was proposed.
Do we make it in the open?
I mean, I don't think it was serious, so you can say it. Yeah, I don't think there was any.
So
I'd do it,
yeah,
but
I think suggested as a joke. Ryan, why don't you share exactly what the trade was?
I thought that I was trading for the 49ers. I thought they would offer up Garoppolo to the Panthers. and Alfred just hung up immediately. He just
No, I think it was Steven that said
He's
hung
like-
up immediately. But
that's right, yeah.
it's a non issue there. That's not
You ever
gonna
see
happen.
Pawn Stars where they're like, best we can do is, you know, Jimmy
Yeah,
Garoppolo.
best I can do is $2.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
meme there,
literally
yeah,
like
exactly.
that is an offer that Pawn Stars would be like ashamed of. So I'm a Niners fan. It's not in the cards.
Who has while Alfred's thinking, who has more value? I mean, I know my opinion, but who has more value right now, Jimmy Garoppolo or Baker Mayfield?
Mayfield.
Baker, for sure, Baker.
Baker for sure. Baker. For
He has the
sure.
promise. We've seen Garoppolo's ceiling. With that, Garoppolo without Shanahan is what, like, middle tier at best. At least Baker, because people forget he. By the way, Alfred, you have 40 seconds. Baker was hurt all last season. I think people forget that.
All right, I'm ready.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Let's hear it, Alfred.
All right, so Matt Rule's in a rough spot, right? And this is his contract year. It's make or break. He has a lot of things to fix, but he has to fix the person who touches the ball every offensive play. They went the whole thing about it was his coaching. It's not the coaching. He's just not a good NFL player. They have to make a fix at that position. I'm gonna go with this guy because I think he's tough, he's durable, and I think he's a gamer. He also went to the same high school as me. So with the 6th pick, the Carolina Panthers select Matt Corral.
Oh!
I have to share the board here because I'm updating this live, and I want to get somebody's opinion on here. Let's go with Will Decker. Why don't you kick us off? Matt Corral as the first quarterback taken off the board. Definitely got to get your thoughts here.
Man, so if I'm Carolina, I'm putting all my eggs in the basket of trying to get Baker. If they are going to go with the quarterback, I've heard good things about Corral, and there's very few people I listen to about the quarterback position. Chris Sims is like the guy when it comes to quarterbacks, or at least his predictions have been super accurate when it comes to those. He had Corral as the best quarterback in this draft. I've just seen too much RPO from his offense at Ole Miss to kind of get a glimpse. And RPO is just a very simplified offense. It's not going to translate well to the NFL. He's got a ton of arm talent. I like his moxie. I like his ability. But this is the draft where I'm not going to be taking more than 2 quarterbacks at best in the first round. I just do not feel confident about the quarterback class. If I'm going to get Corral, I can trade down and get him. So I would have preferred to do that. But if that's your guy and you're willing to ride with him, roll the dice.
It is an interesting move for sure. And Steven, I want to get your thoughts here now as far as just how do you view Matt Corral in the quarterback landscape here in this year's class? And do you think you can make an argument for him being the first quarterback taken this year?
I personally do not see it that way. I hate this quarterback class. Like I hate it with every fiber of my being. I think if you're going to take a quarterback, it's got to be Malik Willis, in my opinion, because he does have the highest ceiling. He's got the physical tools. He's got the cannon of an arm. Desmond Ridder would be QB2 for me. But Alfred is right that the Panthers are in an awful, awful, awful situation. And there's just no way they do not take a quarterback. So, I mean, Matt Corral is fine, I guess. I feel like he could come in right away and start and be serviceable. I just don't think he has that same kind of ceiling. But, again, like Alfred mentioned, the Panthers need somebody right now. And Malik Willis is not that. And I don't think Desmond Ridder is that. So it's just kind of a ceiling versus immediate starter kind of thing. They could try and trade back, man, but nobody's trading up in this class. Nobody's trading up to 6, man. It's just nobody's unless you're trading Alvin Kamara.
I tried Jay up for 6. I tried.
So Alfred's right, man. It's just an awful situation for the Panthers, and I feel like they should just be taking the best player on the board, but they need a quarterback, and if Matt Corral's their guy, then so be it.
All right, interesting. Well, thank you, Alfred, for sparking a little bit of debate here with the very interesting
I was
pick
like,
at number 6.
Steven, check Slack real quick.
I want to hear why Alfred took Corral over the other QBs, though. Defend yourself.
I think personally, Matt Corral is the best quarterback right now that's ready. If you look at all the intangibles, right? Let's talk about mental. Mentally, he's ready. He's been through enough adversity in his career through college where he can handle adversity in the NFL. I know he runs a lot of RPO stuff, but he's going to come in and have a basic playbook pro-wise as his first year. The other guys are just not ready yet. In my opinion, in my evaluation of them, they're just not going to be a guy that you could come in and put everything on, put your career on the line for and be ready to play. Matt Corral is overall a team leader. He could deal with adversity, and he has the arm strength to make throws in the NFL to at least get the team over the hump. They don't have to go to the playoffs, but they have to at least win 9 games and be competitive this year to at least get Matt Rule one more year. And I think Matt Corral's the guy that could do that.
I do agree with that, by the way. I understand that.
Yeah, totally. And last question for Alfred, because you're a USC guy. So you think Darnold's done in the NFL? Just didn't work out?
I don't think he's a starter, but he's a reliable backup. Like, if he was a backup and your quarterback was to be down for 2 series, I would not be worried if Matt Darnold came in and at least was a Band-Aid. But as a permanent fix, I don't think Darnold's that guy. Sorry, I said Matt Darnold.
I think you mixed up Matt Barkley and Sam Darnold. We're mixing up USC quarterbacks.
Sam Darnold's not that. He's not an NFL starter. Great backup, but he's not. I don't think he's an NFL starter.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's a fair point right there.
There you
So
go.
they move in a new direction. They bring in the Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral to now lead the Panthers in a interesting NFC South. With Brady back and the questions at quarterback for the Saints and the Falcons with their huge issues that they're no offense now. I think it's just going to be a very interesting. So Matt Corral could actually compete in that division. So yeah, we'll see how that would work out. Now we're going to go back to our boss man with Ryan. The New York Giants are back on the clock just 2 picks later with number 7. So who do you think they take as a additional pick from the first round to pair up with Ike Ekwonu, either on the offense or on the defense?
Yeah, so I think we go defense here. I mean, the Giants could go, offensive line, both picks, but I don't think you take an inside guy there at 7. You can wait till later at that. So I think we, need to shore up the defense. And obviously, there's been question of trades and stuff of that with some of their secondary. But I think they go with the guy that many people think is the best corner in this draft, and you get Derek Stingley Jr. I think they could potentially go, safety here with Kyle Hamilton or someone of that nature, but I think Derek Stingley Jr. just makes too much sense for them to shore up the corner. And if they can get a bookend tackle and a hopefully lifer or 10-year corner at 5 and 7, I think they're going to feel really good about those in the first round. I know you wanted me to wait 45 seconds, but I made the pick, so there you go. It's Derek Stingley.
It's
all
all
right.
right.
Yeah,
We're not
good.
hard and fast with those rules. It's all good. So interesting here, though, that to upgrade the defense, we went corner instead of, defensive line, especially Kayvon Thibodeau out there. So I want to pass it here to Dan. What are your thoughts here on taking a corner over a sliding Kayvon Thibodeau?
I was actually curious about this one. I was wondering, does this mean that are you thinking he's out in this scenario?
No, I think he could still be there. I mean, we've seen many teams, like, for instance, the Broncos last year had 3 starting corners and still went with their corner at 9. So, and now you kind of plan for the next year, not the current year when you're drafting this high, I think. Especially when you're in the Giants position where they're not a playoff Super Bowl team this year. You're planning for 1, 2, 3 years down the line. So I just think Thibodeau would not be a bad pick by any means, trust me. So I just think that Stingley gives him more.
Well,
Dan, clearly your daughter does not agree.
Well, Dan, before you give your take here, I do want to point out that the New York Giants are considering releasing James Bradberry as a post-June 1st release because they don't want to pay his contract, essentially. So it's another cost-cutting move by the first-year GM Joe Shane. So there's a possibility he gets released. Same thing with Logan Ryan as well, because they are not finding trade partners for either of those guys. So we could see a situation where they're missing both of those guys in that defense. So it sort of justifies Ryan's pick a little bit more with Derek Stingley Jr.
I will say, look, I don't think you can go wrong. Stingley is my CB1 on my board. So if you're going to be able to come out of this draft getting arguably the best tackle and best corner, in my opinion, then I think you're doing just fine. Stingley does have some question marks, though, and people were worried about his injury, although he came back at his pro day and obviously balled out. He hasn't had a star season in a few years, although I think his peaks are probably higher than anyone else in this draft class at that position. That said, there is some risk there, but I think there's enough to take him because I think he's that dude. Stingley, I think, has the highest ceiling of any corner in this draft by far. I would take Derek Stingley.
Okay, interesting. All right, so let's move things along here. We got the number 8 selection here, the Atlanta Falcons. Steven, you're officially on the clock with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised at Ryan's take, man. I think the Kayvon Thibodeau thing should be highly considered there. But as the Falcons,
come on, break
right
me
here,
down, tear me down.
You can break it down a little bit before you make your pick.
I totally understand why you're taking a Derek Stingley. I would prefer Kayvon Thibodeau as a Giants guy if I were the Giants. But...
Was Ryan Dyer doing the Predator thing of like, come on, kill me?
Well, let me say this too. If it was like my team drafting, I would prefer Thibodeau, but I just look at the Giants. I think this is what they do. So I'd prefer Thibodeau over Stingley for sure.
No, I could certainly see that.
I'd take Thibodeau before Hutchinson, personally.
Yeah, I'm not all the way there, but I agree. Kayvon Thibodeau should be the second overall pick in my opinion. That's just the way I see that. But
yeah,
Derek Stingley, I was hoping that he would be there for the Falcons in this instance, not so they would pick him, so they could trade him back to the Ravens. That was going to be my plan as the guy who controls the Falcons and the Ravens. But this is going to be where Kayvon Thibodeau's fall ends. The Falcons have not had a good pass rusher in over a
Ever.
decade since Jonathan Abraham was there. Like, it's been a hot minute since they've had a true stud pass rusher. I mean, they paid Dante Fowler that huge contract, and he was fine. He just wasn't worthy of that contract. So Kayvon Thibodeau, for me, third player overall in the class, and I think somebody that just has such a high ceiling as a pass rusher. So very happy that I could take a premier talent at a premier position. I would push back and say the edge rusher position is the second most valuable in the sport. That's just me personally. So I'm taking Kayvon Thibodeau for the Falcons at 8 overall.
Okay, interesting. So, Will, I want to pass
I don't think
it to
anyone
you
would
here.
disagree.
I would.
There's no chance in hell
I
that
would.
Thibodeau falls in real
I
life.
would.
I don't know.
Oh, Dan, I disagree
would.
with you.
I would.
Thibodeau, I was just talking with Murr about this. Thibodeau could be a Charger. This dude is primed for a fall. Like, just wait.
I will
No.
bet you all of
He's
my
a-
not
savings
falling
account
to
you're
Whoa,
not
whoa,
seeing
whoa, whoa,
Charger.
whoa, 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 whoa. Real quick, I am not saying he is deserving of the fall. I'm just saying this dude is screaming Derwin James to me. This is the comparison I made last night in our episode. He is going to fall for some reason. I don't understand why, but teams do not like this guy
You
for
know
whatever
why?
reason, which is
You know why?
stupid.
Do you know why he's going to fall? Do you know why Thibodeau's going to fall? Who did they compare him to? Jadeveon Clowney.
I was going to go for Golson.
They compared him to Jadeveon Clowney. How successful is Jadeveon Clowney? Jadeveon Clowney, Mario Williams.
Jadeveon Clowney is successful. Come on.
He's the number one overall pick in the NFL.
He's how many other number one overall picks actually paying out for what 10 years?
Jadeveon Clowney, Mario Williams, Thibodeau, all in the same class.
Mario Williams was a success too.
Hey,
Mario
easy,
Williams.
easy. Watch your volume.
I'm getting fired up about this.
He's
Tad,
not.
though, when you look at them both being number one overall, and then you look at a Von Miller at 2 or a Khalil Mack at 5, the success was unparalleled compared to those two. Compared to the
All right, that's fine, but then compare number one overall picks to like I know I'm kind of cherry picking here. Ryan Leaf, like you could go way worse. If your number one overall pick lasts more than 5 years in the NFL, he works out because I could do the same thing. Look at Aaron Curry; he was the number 3 pick, and he lasted 4 years in the league. So no, if your first overall pick ends up being a solid player. Sure. Look at Eric Fisher. Eric Fisher is a great example of this. Of like, did he end up being everything we expected him to be or hoped he would be? No. But as long as you're a solid player in the league, that's more than most teams would ask for.
But why would I spend first?
that
Why would I
doesn't-
spend number one overall pick money on a solid player in the NFL?
Well, but that's the whole thing now is with this rookie salary cap, you're not spending that much money on them. So if you have a solid, 3 or 4 years,
There's
great.
a big difference between the first overall pick and the 15th pick in money. Why would I spend that number one overall pick on money and I could save me a whole bunch of money? He's not going to be that good.
I mean, good luck finding another edge rusher that's going to get you 8 sacks a year.
He's not going to do that in NFL.
Man,
Interesting.
He won't
Here
even,
we go.
he won't even be a
Here
pro.
we go.
lots of
we
Kayvon
go.
Thibodeau takes here. I'll put a bow on this since I was the one who took him. First of all, he's not getting past 10 with the Jets. The Jets love him,
Yeah.
absolutely. They've had some great meetings with him, according to Peter Schrager, as of this morning. The Kayvon Thibodeau takes are wild, and I think that he's got the best pass rush plan of anybody of these guys. He's a freak athlete himself, and he compared himself to Jadeveon Clowney. No one else is doing that. So Kayvon Thibodeau absolutely, to me, has the highest ceiling of the edge rushers in this class. Falcons getting him at 8 is great value in my opinion.
Absolute steal. Right
Can
there
I
with it, buddy.
can I ask you one quick question? Who was the most dominant pass rusher in the NCAA season last year?
I mean, it was
Hutchinson.
Aiden Hutchinson, but Aiden Hutchinson has T-Rex. He has T-Rex arms, man.
Arms don't matter.
Arms absolutely matter. For
It's
All
floor
right.
versus ceiling, though, right? It's
I
floor
mean,
versus
at the
ceiling.
end of the day, we could talk about Elvis Dumerville, who was about 5'10".
Boom.
We could
I
talk
love
about
my
Dwight
Elvis.
Freeney.
you struck a chord with Daru
You're
there.
talking about 2 players over the whole course of time, man. Like, arm length absolutely matters, especially as
There are
an
certainly
edge rusher.
going to be outliers, but if you were to bank on arms being a deciding point, like that, your odds are against you if they're not long.
All right, final take before we move on to the next pick. Will Decker, You get the final say on this. What is your opinion here?
I think it's an absolute steal. If you can get Thibodeau at 8, I think the Falcons draft room is going nuts. I mean, this is a guy that is he's so supremely talented. He got off the bus at 18 years old in Oregon, nearly had 10 sacks, 7 sacks last year in 10 games. You know, I mentioned earlier the pass rush win rate, all the PFF stats to back it up, how good of a pick this is. Just turn on the film against UCLA, Cal, Washington State. I mean, he was far and away the best player on the field. It wasn't even close. Thibodeau, I mean, this is an A+ grade. I mean, it doesn't get better than that at 8 for Mr. Thibodeau. So I love it.
All right, there we go.
Interesting.
Right.
So, yeah, Kayvon Thibodeau's slide falls, and he gets there at number 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. Now we have the Seattle Seahawks via the Denver Broncos, thanks to the Russell Wilson trade, are now on the clock at number 9, and our man Will has got the Seattle Seahawks here. So you are now officially on the clock.
Clock is a go.
Variety of different directions we can go here. Seahawks have a very bare roster, even more bare after the DK Metcalf trade on paper in this draft. But the pick for me, I'm going to go with the offensive line, who I believe is, the most important positions in football. Quarterback's obviously number 1. Affecting the quarterback, I think Steven mentioned pass rush is probably number 2. Protecting the quarterback's right up there as well. I'd say those are the 3 most important position groups in the league for my money. I'm going Charles Cross. I'm going the most important pass protector, the best pass protector I've seen on tape in this draft. Love his footwork. He gave up he had no sacks allowed last year in 522 pass snaps for Mississippi State. I thought he did a really good job, going against the elite, SEC talent that is out there. You could easily go quarterback here. Malik Willis, Ritter still on the board. I'm not crazy about either one. I'd probably go Willis if I had to pick one. They're going to be a bottom 5 team anyways. Might as well build with blue chip talent on the line. And then, going to next year's draft class, try to find your quarterback when a guy like Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Phil Jerkovich are going to be coming out. I go Charles Cross. That's my pick. Great pass protector. Think he's a great tackle.
Okay, excellent pick there, Charles Cross.
No qualms
offensive
there.
Tackle there. I'm going to move into the next pick here. That's the New York Jets via the Seattle Seahawks, thanks to that Jamal Adams trade. So they are back on the clock here at number 10 to close out the top 10. And I'm surprised that this guy has lasted this long. I thought maybe he would have gone
Don't you
at
do
number
it.
8.
Don't you do it. The Colts have him at 18. Don't you do this.
But thanks to Kayvon Thibodeau sliding and the Atlanta Falcons taking advantage of that, they ended up going that route, adding on to their defense. I originally thought that, possibly I'd go in a different direction at the number 10 spot based on how I thought the board would play out. But with the way that the board has played out now, I'm going in this direction, and that's the wide receiver out of USC, Drake London. I am drafting him to add to that wide receiver room. I think he's definitely going to add to that wide receiver room. They got a lot of great pieces there with Braxton Berrios, Denzel Mims, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis that they just recently signed. I think just adding another piece there to give Zach Wilson extra weapons to make sure he's fully supported, which Sam Darnold unfortunately did not get with the New York Jets. They're making the right decisions now to make sure he is getting the best weapons out there. They also signed CJ Uzomah, who's a pretty good tight end. He's going to be a good addition in that passing offense. Michael Carter had such a great breakout towards the end of the season. This offense is going to be a lot better, especially now that you're adding Drake London to that group. So I want to pass it to Alfred here, who's our USC expert here. Do you think Drake London is the best wide receiver in this class? And I'm hoping you're not going to be too biased with it.
It's not too biased. He's a big body. He can run. He has great hands. Like, at the end of the day, he helped Zach Wilson out, right? It's either he's getting to the point. He's going to get to the point to where his window's going to run out. He's coming up on he'll be year 2, year 3. But with Drake London there, he's a big body. Like I said, he could run. He could box you out. He could catch. He could jump. He's very athletic. Like, I don't see anybody else in this class that has all 3 of those tangibles, which in my mind, no bias, he is the number 1 receiver.
And really quick, I want to pass it to
100%.
Ryan Dyrud because he made a comparison on Twitter, and I love this comparison. So, Ryan Dyrud, who do you think is a good pro comp for Drake London?
Yeah, well, first of all, Amar, thanks for actually taking the best receiver as the first receiver taken. But yeah, I see Brandon Marshall. I mean, Brandon Marshall, former 3rd-round pick out of Central Florida, played for the Broncos, the Dolphins, the Jets. big body dude that just broke tackles when he got the ball, could run the routes, all the route tree. But you put the tape on side by side, and it's like Drake London looks like Brandon Marshall. I haven't seen that comp a lot. A lot of people are throwing out Mike Evans. I think people just look at size and compare it. I think Drake London's a very different receiver than Mike Evans. And I see Brandon Marshall at his peak was one of the most dominant receivers in the NFL. And just last little tidbit before you move on, the last few wide receivers that came out of USC, when you look at Amon-Ra St. Brown, when you look at Michael Pittman Jr., when Drake London was a freshman, you could see his talent far exceeded those two guys who have already put their names in the NFL and had stellar 1 and 2 seasons. So I think Drake London's going to be dominant. I just hope Zach Wilson works out as a quarterback and doesn't waste Drake London's talent. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, that's a whole separate topic. But yeah, he's getting the weapons. He's getting the support. Let's see if this will pan out. I think Drake London is an excellent step to make sure that his career does pan out in the NFL. So we have our top 10 now, just really quickly running through it. We got Hutchinson at 1, Trayvon Walker at 2, Evan Neal at number 3, Ahmad Gardner at number 4, Ike Mekwonu at number 5, Matt Corral at 6, a very interesting pick there, Derek Stingley at number 7, Kayvon Thibodeau at number 8, Charles Cross at number 9, and the most recently taken Drake London at number 10. So now we're going to get into the double-digit picks here right after number 10. We're going to go to Will with the Washington Commanders. Who will be the first ever drafted commander in Washington history, Will?
Will, you are on the clock.
You could go a variety of different directions here. I think this would be a team I would circle, for maybe the quarterback room. That could be a realistic option. Linebacker has been a need for them. The pick they made last year really didn't pan out from the linebacker from Kentucky. But I'm going here for maybe the receiver that's going to have the best career when all is said and done, potentially. My favorite receiver in the draft, when you add up all the things, Chris Olave. And I know it could be a reach, but this is the guy that I really like. Best route runner in the draft for my money. You're talking about deep catches in college football. He had the most in college football, over the last 3 years. Since 2019, he had 19 big play touchdowns, which is over 30 to 40 yards. Next closest guy has 14, so he's 5 ahead of the next guy. He ran faster than initially, thought at the combine. Give me Chris Olave here. I think that's a really good pick to pair with a guy like McLaurin, also an Ohio State guy. So a lot of love there.
Great. Really quick, I want to pass it to Steven here. Who do you like better of the two Ohio State receivers, Olave or Garrett Wilson?
I think it's Garrett Wilson, and
Okay.
I generally hate this statement, but it's not even close for me.
Wow.
I think
Okay.
Garrett Wilson is just as fast, maybe a little slower, but I think he offers you that physicality that Chris Olave just cannot. I would be very happy with Chris Olave at 17 to the Chargers, but with Garrett Wilson and Jamison Williams on the board, I would be going that route. But the Washington Commanders do have a thing for Ohio State. I can see it happening in real life for sure.
All right. Interesting take there. So, actually, Steven, I'm going to stick with you because now at number 12, the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock. So, yeah, you're officially on the clock.
All right, start the clock now.
Yeah, so I think the Vikings really would be hoping for Derek Stingley to fall, in real life, and in this simulation as well. They have that LSU connection. I think their secondary coach used to be the defensive coordinator at LSU. So obviously Patrick Peterson is there. Justin Jefferson is there. So I think the Vikings are hoping that Derek Stingley would fall in this case. And I think, this defense that I forget his name, Ed Donatel is going to be bringing with him. You need to have those versatile chess pieces in the secondary, and I think all due respect to Harrison Smith, I don't really think he is that anymore. So I'm going to be taking Kyle Hamilton, the safety from Notre Dame, at this point, and give Ed Donatel the chess piece that he deserves. So I was talking with Tad about potentially trading back.
Yeah, I was literally trying the best half hour to trade in this pick.
Yeah, I think if in the Vikings, they could certainly, trade back in real life. But I think if Derek Stingley's on the board, that's the choice that I would have made, and they would make in real life. I think Kyle Hamilton is a close second behind Derek Stingley.
Okay. Interesting. So, Ryan Anderson, we actually haven't heard from you in a bit. So, do you envision a scenario where Kyle Hamilton slides out of the top 10? I mean, a lot of people have this guy as a highly rated prospect in this year's draft class, and a lot of people envision him being in the top 10. But, yeah, in this scenario, obviously he goes at number 12 outside the top 10. But when the draft comes next week, do you think he'll be in that top 10, or will he be outside of it? I think we got a
It's so hard to
frozen Ryan
say.
there. So we're going to move a different direction. I'm going to pass this to Alfred. Alfred, what are your thoughts here on Kyle Hamilton being a top 10 pick, or do you think he'll fall outside the top 10?
If he falls outside the top 10, he's not going to fall very far. He's by far the best safety that covers from hash to hash in college football. There was a clip of him coming from one hash all the way to the other and made a pick or made a tackle or something like that. Like he's
Sorry, that was the timer. The pick is up.
I'm sorry. Like I might get his measurables wrong, but he's like 6'4", almost 220 something pounds. Like he's amazing. The thing about him is he's going to Minnesota, but Zimmer's not there anymore. But if they have him play down the box as a safety, I don't know if he's able to play in the box at that level. That's the only flaw I have on him. But running wise, playing hash to hash over the top, I think he'll fit right in. He could come in and play right now in the NFL, in my opinion.
I just have to say one thing real quick: is Harrison Smith and Kyle Hamilton together? Like that's not fair.
And that's a good guy to learn from too. Like, I mean, I know Steven said that Harrison Smith is not the same guy that he once was, but I mean, he's still got the football IQ. So I mean, he could teach up Kyle Hamilton too to make the next progress into the NFL right there. So like yeah, that's the perfect guy to learn from as well. So excellent pick there by the Vikings to upgrade their safety help there. And yeah, surprised they lasted all the way to 12. I envision him going in the top 10, so we'll see exactly what happens next week when the draft is on April 28th. So let's move into the Texans here. Thanks to the trade with the New Orleans Saints, they already originally had this pick. It's a later pick at number 16 is when the trade happened with the New Orleans Saints. So they originally had this number 13 pick thanks to the Deshaun Watson trade. So Ryan Anderson, who unfortunately is gone because he's frozen, so we'll give it a couple seconds here. But just guys, so far, how the draft is shaping out here so far, are there any surprises or is there any players that you're seeing here that you're surprised have either gone early? I mean, obviously we talked about Matt Corral at number 6, but yeah, any other players that you're surprised are slipping here or have already gone? So Will, you raised your hand. Let's get your thoughts here.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, the draft is a gamble. And if you could find something that's the closest thing to a sure thing, you got to take that, right? So Kyle Hamilton is like the best safety prospect I can remember easily since a guy like Jamal Adams, who really has not panned out in recent years. Kyle Hamilton really doesn't have a lot of flaws in his game. I know some people think that's a little early for a safety, but I mean, man, the 40 time, throw that out the window. I could care less about that. This guy is outstanding. If you're getting Kyle Hamilton, who in my opinion is the closest thing to a guarantee of an all-pro in this draft at 12, I think you got to be feeling pretty good about that. Matt Corral at 6, I think is a bit of a reach, but Alfred, if that's your guy, you got to go with it, man. I understand.
It's a Long Beach Poly thing. We both went to Poly. That's all it is. It's a Long Beach Poly thing.
So actually, unfortunately, like I said, Ryan Anderson lost connection, but he did just message me his pick. This is a very interesting pick, so I definitely want to get your guys' thoughts on this one.
He didn't lose connection; he just bailed.
All right.
He didn't want the blowback.
I was about to say he didn't want the whiplash.
That's probably exactly what it is. But yeah, let me put this pick in. I'm going to share the board in just a second, and I want to get your thoughts here. So yeah, I have inputted here. Here's the board. He has Treylon Burks, the wide receiver out of Arkansas. Clearly, Ryan Anderson has a very interesting big board based on where he sees some players. So, just like Will said, it's a gamble. A lot of people highly value other prospects compared to others, but this one is an interesting move. He's definitely got the height and the size, so it's like maybe that's the direction they want to go with the Texans here. So,
he's back. Let him defend himself.
There, all right, here.
All right. Hold on. I need to hear the defense for this.
All right, Ryan. We actually just
this is blasphemy, sir.
We're getting a lot of blowback here on your pick here. So yeah, explain yourself and justify it, my friend.
All right. So the Texans were moving in an offensive direction. I came in as the GM post the Lovie Smith era, Nick Caserio era. I'm not part of that. I'm a new guy. I'm coming in, bringing in a new era. We're bringing in Alvin Kamara. We're selling some goddamn jerseys. We're bringing in Traylon Burks. He's getting some goddamn yak.
What, Garrett Wilson can't do the same thing?
No.
Don't interrupt, Tad. Let him finish his take. All right.
We got Brandon Cooks on the other side. We got Nico Collins. We got a good thing going on here for Davis Mills. I think I'm reaching on this. I know that. I'm not afraid of that. I'm a new guy here in Houston. I got the new guns, the new badge, the brand new tin badge here. We're selling some jerseys this year. We're making some stuff happen in Houston for the first time. They've been drafting linemen. They've been drafting defensive guys. They've been drafting guys like Jadeveon Clowney. We're over that. We're on to new territory here. We're stretching the boundaries.
I freaking love it.
That is the first time Nico Collins and Davis Mills has ever been mentioned in jersey sales in history.
They're not. But
he's talking about Traylon Burks and Alvin.
Davis Mills is good, man.
He's not good. He's fine. I would
take Davis Mills over any quarterback in this class.
Trevor, you would take Davis Mills over Kenny Pickett.
Absolutely. I would take
You're wrong.
Davis Mills over,
You're wrong.
I would take Davis Mills over Malik Willis, who I said is QB1, man.
You're also wrong.
These are Kenny Pickett's hands.
Speaking of T-Rex arms.
Not wrong.
So obviously it's a very interesting pick here with Traylon Burks. Does anybody want to give their thoughts here at Ryan Anderson's pick here for the Texans at number 13?
I just love that. I just love the monologue. I'm just happy with it.
That is good. Dan,
Go ahead, Dan.
I feel like Ryan, you needed like a spotlight. You need a dark room spotlight, just like a cigar as you're talking about it. Look,
with a spotlight on his daughter in the background as well.
Or Ryan could have it. Oh, both Ryans got spotlights.
Not me.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Skinny T.
The
with
other Ryan.
spotlight.
The other Ryan.
The other Ryan. Gotcha.
But no, okay. For all the blowback that you are getting, Traylon Burks is a very good wide receiver, and I can see him kind of being a do-it-all receiver in the NFL. You're hearing a lot of people talk about all the news with like Deebo Samuel, and a lot of people are kind of making comparisons. I know he's not Deebo Samuel, but Traylon Burks in Arkansas was like literally everywhere, and he was that offense. He was put in every position they had. So as much as people want to poo-poo the selection, maybe it was a reach, he could be like a do-it-all receiver for this team. And for a team that needs literally everything, he kind of fills multiple holes at once. So it's not the worst pick.
Exactly. I think people have receivers ranked at different positions. So, I mean, he's an excellent receiver. We'll see how it all plays out. But, yeah.
Drake London, number 1, and then everyone else. Just go with that.
There you go. There's some USC bias for you guys. It's for the LAFB Network mock.
It's just fact. It's not bias. It's just fact.
All right, so let's get into number 14 here with the Baltimore Ravens now on the clock. And, Steven, you are on the clock with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, as it pertains to Traylon Burks, man, I think everybody likes receivers in different areas. So, we've seen the NFL take Henry Ruggs when, he was not the best receiver in the class. So you never know, man. The NFL likes different kind of body types, different kind of players. So, the Ravens to me are kind of a sleeping giant that nobody really is talking about. And so, I think people kind of forget that they were 8-3 in the 1 seed in the AFC before Lamar Jackson got hurt. So, I'm definitely not going offense. Their defense was kind of a mess last year. That's kind of the unit that I think needs to be rebuilt. I mentioned this earlier. I think they could be a team that could trade up for a Sauce Gardner or Derek Stingley. Marcus Peters getting up there in age. He's been injured a lot. So they need a corner. They also need a pass rusher. We saw them go after Zadarius Smith. That deal kind of fell through, unfortunately, for them. So those are kind of the two areas that I think the Ravens could be targeting. So I'm going to go with Florida State edge rusher Jermaine Johnson. And I think
all right.
Along with Ike Ekwonu, there are no two players that I picture as like the stereotypical Baltimore Raven player in this class. And it gives them that length profile, that nastiness profile. Really gives them two different flavors with Jermaine Johnson and Odafe Oweh on the opposite side. You have kind of the speed rusher, then Jermaine Johnson would give them kind of that bruiser, physical presence that I love. Really, the only edge rusher that I saw give Ike Ekwonu any kind of struggles. That was a really fun battle for me to watch. Best player at the Senior Bowl practices. So I think Jermaine Johnson checks a lot of boxes for the Baltimore Ravens, and I think they really need that pass rusher opposite of Odafe Owe.
Yeah,
I
mean,
just got to give a shout out real quick because Dan called that like 30 seconds before he made that pick.
But I think it's just like Steven said. It's like this is what the Baltimore Ravens do. They get these guys, they add them to their defense, they become stars. And Tad, we talked about this the other day where it's like they listed off all these stars that looked really good with Baltimore, but then they went elsewhere. They just weren't the same guys. So something is in the water in Baltimore where they draft these guys and they just become instant successes and they become instant contributors there. And I very much see the same thing happening here with Jermaine Johnson. So
yeah, it's
excellent pick.
It's a real shame in this instance that David Ojabo tore his Achilles.
Right.
Obviously, Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator, former Michigan defensive coordinator, David Ojabo, Odafe Owe, former high school teammate. So there's a lot of connections there, but obviously you can't take a player with a torn Achilles at 14. So go to the next best player at the position, Jermaine Johnson.
Agree with that. So we're going to move things right along here. We got the number 15 pick, the Philadelphia Eagles. This is via the Miami Dolphins trade. So honestly, the way that the draft is playing out here, the Eagles have a need at the wide receiver position. They probably have a need at the middle linebacker position. They can upgrade the secondary. But as mentioned, just the way that the board has been playing out, I think the fact that this wide receiver is still on the board, I think they're going to be running up this card to the stage, and that's Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. The fact that he was still there and the need for Jalen Hurts to have some weapons, just like we talked about with Zach Wilson and the Jets, supporting him the best that they can. If they want to roll with Jalen Hurts, I think they need to give him some more support. They barely get any production for the wide receiver room besides Devontae Smith. So you pair him up with a guy like Garrett Wilson, I think it's going to be an excellent 1-2 punch. Hopefully they'll run the ball a little bit more, so that will help with the play action and the RPO as well with Miles Sanders in the backfield. So this offense just got a little bit better with Garrett Wilson in there, and I think he's going to be an excellent running mate with Devontae Smith. Ryan Dyer, what are your thoughts here with the Eagles taking Garrett Wilson at number 15?
Well, first, I'm just going to say things are getting real interesting for the Chargers at 17 coming up. Excited to see who has that pick, Dan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm excited to see what happens there. But for Wilson, the Eagles, I think it's a great pick, but I mean the Eagles got to prove they can throw to their receivers. Haven't they taken receivers the last two first round picks? They've taken receivers.
That's fair.
Yeah, they
three.
Took,
okay, Steven's putting up the three fingers.
Yeah, 3. So it's like. It's not a bad pick, but you got to be able to get these receivers the football. I mean, receivers the most reliant position on another position out of every position in the NFL in football. So, I'm not saying I'm not out here pining against Jalen Hurts, but until they can actually throw the rock for more than 2,200 yards or whatever, we'll see how Garrett Wilson pans out there. But he's a great receiver. He's a great player. I think he makes any team better at that position. It's just a matter of is it worth that high of a pick at 15 for a guy that may only see 30 receptions with all the mouths they got to feed because they've taken so much picks there. So, but I don't hate it. I would go a different direction, but it's a good player.
No, that's a fair point. Will, what are your thoughts here about Garrett Wilson and number 15 to the Eagles?
Wilson's a talented receiver. I hate comps when it comes to the draft, but you could definitely see some trails of Stephon Diggs there with Wilson with his route running, kind of how he gets out of his breaks. It was hard to evaluate his film just because that receiving core was so loaded that it was just he wasn't always on a number one corner the way that they did that because they have Smith Najigba, and then my pick earlier was Chris Olave. I just like Olave. I think he's just more of a finer-tuned receiver at this point in the process, but if Wilson can put those tools together and he has some of the most elite ones in this draft, I think it's a really good pick. And the Eagles will have Devonta Smith and Garrett Wilson moving forward with whoever's quarterback there. I think that's a really strong receiving core on paper.
And I think that's the big thing, too, especially with this move, is that maybe if Jalen Hurts is not the answer, at least you're set for the future, too. You got 2 excellent receivers. Like I said, you got Miles Sanders in the backfield. Whoever's going to come in, if it's not Jalen Hurts, he's going to be set, and he's going to be supported with those weapons there. So, All right, so just to run back the last 5 picks, we had Chris Olave at number 11 to the Commanders. We got Kyle Hamilton, number 12 to the Vikings. We got Treylon Burks, number 13 to the Houston Texans. Jermaine Johnson, the edge rusher, going to the Baltimore Ravens. And just the most recent pick, Garrett Wilson to the Philadelphia Eagles. So now the Houston Texans are back on the clock. Very interested to see who Ryan Anderson is going to be selecting for them now here at number 16.
Well, we've got a trade submitted to Tad.
Okay, all right.
I don't know where we
Trade
are.
possibly in the works here.
Well, I was about to say, hold on. We're working out of this trade. I'm working like 6 different trades right now.
That's one of the things when you're taking multiple teams.
hold on.
Yeah, you're got to be talking with so many different people here.
You look at the Texans draft needs, and it just says all, everything, all, whatever you can get. So I'm open to all sorts of trades, and Tad offered a very
Trades off.
Ooh,
No, trades off.
The table.
Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
Amir screwed this for you. I was going for a receiver. So, okay, to let people know, I've been trying to trade up for the Cowboys because I wanted a receiver. But now all my top receivers are off the board. So trades
There's
off.
2, isn't there? How many?
Amir screwed you there. The Eagles screwed you, and I tried to trade with Amir as well. So Amir screwed you there.
On the board, by the way.
Okay.
We got 4 receivers gone so far. Drake London, Chris Olave, Treylon Burks, and Garrett Wilson are all gone.
Yeah, those are the only receivers we're taking here.
Fighting
That
words
is
there.
That is
Oh,
just
man.
not
I thought it
accurate.
was in the bag.
All right, then.
Only receivers worth taking there. All right, you're gonna get some blowback.
Who are
on
you
that.
going with, Ryan? Who are you going with? This suspense is killing me.
So, yeah, I take that offer. It's the Dallas Cowboys Johnny Manziel deal. It's like the owner's son's ripping up the card and throwing it in the trash.
Interesting.
All right.
Wait, so who's
Texans-
actually
Give me a
picked
sec,
right now?
give me a
The
sec.
Texans. Hold on, real quick.
The Texans
Who's
are on the
actually
clock.
picking?
Texans are on the clock right now. And
You
Ryan
got
Anderson's making
a
that
minute 45 left.
Okay, and and who did the Texans get earlier in the draft?
Texans got Alvin Kamara, then a couple other picks.
Then Treylon Burks.
And Treylon Burks. Okay. So I'm going offensive line here.
Okay.
This is another reach, and I'm drafting him far too high, even for my own standards. Set my standard very high in terms of what I want. Lovie Smith, what does he want? I don't give a shit.
All right. Interesting. That's the way to
he's
operate
here
a team.
for-
Not
he's gonna
consult
be
your
here
head coach at all.
He's going to be here for one.
It's a wonder why the Texans have so much trouble.
He's going to be here for 1
like-
or 2 years at the most, and he's a defensive head coach. I'm an offensive guy. I'm reaching here. I'm going to go for Tyler Linderbaum, top center.
I mean, that's a good pick.
Okay, can the Chargers run their pick in now?
No, not yet. Ryan,
Hold
it's
on.
kind of like
Hold your horses. Hold your horses.
Let's give some analysis on this one. Tyler Linderbaum. Let's go with
Ryan,
Steven.
that's
He's
like
our-
that.
He's our
That's that
foremost
scene in
expert
Draft
when it comes
Day.
to line play here. So, Steven, what do you think about Tyler Linderbaum going at number 16 here? I mean, obviously, based off our trades and stuff like that, it's the Texans at 16, but just overall, being at number 16, like, do you envision that happening?
I mean, that's certainly around the range that other people think he should go. I'm a little concerned about Tyler Linderbaum being a center-only prospect and really kind of being pigeonholed into playing in a wide zone scheme because of his size. Those who follow me know I'm a huge fan of Zion Johnson, and Zion Johnson to me is one of the cleanest players in this draft class. I think he's going to be an immediate start at guard or center. So if the Texans wanted to go interior offensive line, Zion Johnson would be my choice. Zion Johnson should be a universal top 20 pick in my opinion. But, I love Zion. That's just me.
Okay. All right. So Dan is clearly foaming at the mouth because the Chargers are on the clock now, and it seems like he has a pick in mind. That pick
we
is
know what's
probably
happening
there
here.
because of his excitement there. So Dan, why don't you take it away? The Los Angeles Chargers are officially on the clock at number 17.
So
And Dan,
for those,
before you start, this is going to be the clip we actually promote, and so do it well. Do it justice here with
Add
your
the pressure.
pressure.
Add the
Yeah,
pressure.
wow, no pressure there. Jesus.
man, okay.
analysis.
Aggregated.
So
Take a little Goose
take it
Fraba
away.
moment for a second.
Yeah, take
No,
it away.
I don't even make this up. All right. Chargers fans know for the past few seasons that they have been desperate for one thing over. Yeah, I know Tad.
I was trying to trade so hard for this pick. Damn it!
There's one thing that well, actually, there are two things that the Chargers needed more than anything else in this draft class. In this offseason. Number one was being able to stop the run, which the Chargers were god awful at a year ago. And what do? They go out and sign Sebastian Joseph-Day, Austin Johnson. They also get Khalil Mack. Those three guys by themselves immediately shore up the defensive line. And the fact that the Chargers can now get Jordan Davis is bananas. The fact that he has made it this far blows my mind. But there's another thing the Chargers also need. And this is probably the best fit of everything in this class. Every team that needs a need. The Chargers need speed on offense more than anything. And they are desperate for it. And the number 2 person on my Chargers big board, number 2 overall for the Chargers, is somehow still available from the University of Alabama. Jamison Williams, rocket ship, take the Chargers to the moon. Jamison Williams for the Chargers, running that pick in. Every Chargers fan, every GM, everyone who knows the Chargers knows that this is a surefire lock and loaded pick for the Chargers.
All right, so this is obviously a pick for our LAFB network crew. A little bit of a homer pick, or not home pick, I should say, not homer pick, but just let's discuss this a little bit. So, Ryan, what are your thoughts here? Ryan Dyrud, I should say. Forgot there's 2 Ryans out here. Ryan Dyrud, what are your thoughts here on Jameson Williams to the Chargers at number 17?
Well, I got to say first that I think the board fell pretty nice, I think, for the Chargers in this situation with, the opportunity of Jordan Davis. I know Steven has his thoughts on him, but I have my thoughts on him as well. But I think the fact that he's there, at least it gives you some pause or some thought. But Jamison Williams really fills the true need at receiver that they need. And there's a lot of there was thoughts that maybe Chris Olave falls there, but there's not as much love with him. I think Jamison Williams, before injury, would have been – I still think Drake London is far and away the number 1 receiver, but if he had not gotten injured in that playoff game, James Williams would have been a very close 1-2 debate. And I think the fact that he got injured is the only reason why he falls to this spot. And so it's a slam dunk that they can kind of fill that need. And you pair him with, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and the other receivers they have in that room, plus Austin Eckler, plus what they've done on offensive line. And I know there's need at right tackle there, but I think at this point, the way the boards fall with the tackles that have been taken, you say, you know what, we're going to see if we trade into the back into the second, or if we see who falls who's at third at tackle, but we can get a bona fide receiver that can not only start, but can really blow the top off the doors and let Justin Herbert really do his thing. I love the pick. There's a lot of picks I love, but I think I love this one a lot where it sits right now. But
all right, definitely want to pass it to Steven, host of the Guilty as Charged podcast. Let's hear his take.
Well, first of all, I just have to say I'm really proud of Dan for not taking Jordan Davis and making the right decision.
That's been my favorite thing on Twitter is seeing Steven every time someone mocks Jordan Davis. And Steven on Twitter is like, no!
Because I did a mock with Jordan Davis, yeah.
Yeah, when it really comes down to Jordan Davis, this is my thing. I'm okay taking a defensive tackle in the first round, but you got to give me some pass rush. And everybody compares Jordan Davis to Vita Vea, kind of that bigger run-stuffing nose tackle. But Vita Vea had 30 pressures and 8 sacks his last season at Washington. He is and was a monster against the pass. And so Jordan Davis just isn't there yet. Can I think he'd get there? Maybe. But that's just kind of my hang-up on Jordan Davis in that regard. So Jamison Williams, I think, is arguably the best-case scenario for the Chargers in this draft because of what he can – do with this offense, right? I don't think there's anybody else in this class that can truly take this offense to the next level like a Jamison Williams can. And I think, they reportedly really like Chris Olave, and I think Chris Olave is a very solid prospect, but Jamison Williams is just that game breaker that the Chargers, frankly, haven't had since Lance Allworth, as an outside receiver.
Ooh, going back, my man.
Wow. I love Jamison Williams. The speed that he can bring to this team is just, a match made in heaven with Justin Herbert, as much as I love Zion Johnson and a Trent McDuffie type of player. Like, I think Jamison Williams elevates the Chargers more than any other prospect potentially can in this draft.
Will, why don't you give your final thoughts here before we move on?
This is the deep threat Herbert needs to take that next step among the elite quarterbacks, and it's a match made in heaven. I mean, Jamison Williams, when it comes to separation percentage versus out wide against man coverage, he leads by a large gap in this class. This guy is a speedster, a track star, and we have to put him technically in that Ohio State group too, because he transferred from Ohio State, couldn't get on the field, went down to Alabama, made a name for himself down there. 1 year wonder, kind of, but I saw everything I needed to see in 1 year with this guy playing against top competition. The SEC dominated. If the Chargers get Jamison Williams, their fans should be dancing in the streets. I mean, you pair that with a Mike Williams and a Keenan Allen. I mean, my God, that is as lethal wide receiving core for the Chargers, and a big reason why I have them going to the Super Bowl next year as a sleeper pick.
Ooh.
And just to put a bow on this pick, the Chargers
I got one more
are in
bow
the
after your bow.
Ooh, okay, we're putting both
Double
on
bow
both.
this present. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
The Chargers are in an
Double bow in
AFC
this
West
bitch.
that has just gone absolutely ballistic this offseason. And they need to fight fire with fire. And the Chargers offense was already a top 5 offense without having that speed. Imagine what it could be with that speed. And looking at Jamison Williams, I think he had almost 1,500 yards of production last year while he got hurt. And you add that to this offense, it's a no-brainer because you're going up against a Russell Wilson, going up against a Derek Carr, going up against a Patrick Mahomes. You got 3 bona fide superstars at quarterback in this division with offensive skills all over the place. So you need to have someone to be able to pair with that. Jordan Davis probably would have been the pick if Jamison Williams was taken before me, and I got a little nervous as a GM wearing the hat that somebody's going to trade up to pick number 16 to take Jamison Williams.
I was trying.
Thankfully, it didn't happen. I stuck to my guns. Rashawn Slater was the gift that Keem got given last year. This year, we get Jamison Williams.
And my final bow is just this is not the deep threat Justin Herbert needs. This is the deep threat Joe Lombardi needs. And now he can truly transform his playbook in this offense, and that will just unleash Herbert even more. So, love it.
All right. This is going to be a very dangerous offense in a very loaded AFC West. So just like Dan said, fire versus fire versus fire versus fire. It's going to be a shootout every single divisional game. That's just going to be crazy.
Fire versus fire versus fire versus Derek Carr.
Derek Carr slander needs to stop.
Oh, man.
All right, let's move things along here because I'm pretty sure Tad wants to make his pick. The Indianapolis Colts are now officially on the clock at number 18. I know Tad was trying to be aggressive with some trades. I don't think anything materialized, unfortunately. So
No, nothing is. I've put in so much effort tonight. It's amounted to nothing.
So let's hear who your pick is going to be here at number 18 for the Colts.
All right, so I'm starting the clock here at 2:15. So let's play a game, guys. Who do you think I'm going to pick here?
I don't know.
Colts 18?
Jordan Davis,
Malik
baby.
Willis is still on the board.
You can go Garrett Wilson. You can go Garrett Wilson
still
too.
on there. Yep.
Garrett Wilson's still there.
You're going quarterback, aren't you?
I don't know. Am I?
I'm sorry, Garrett Wilson's not there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought Garrett Wilson was off the board because if he's there, hold on, let me look at the board.
Dotson's out there. Christian Watson's out there.
Dude, Zion and Quentin Nelson, man. Zion and Quentin Nelson. You have the best guard pairing in the NFL by far.
And you
They
just
can
signed
have it.
Stephon Gilmore, maybe a little Trent McDuffie.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson went to the Eagles. It would be Garrett Wilson if he was there. That's why I said Damon when that happened. All right, we got a minute 30. Any more guesses before I say?
I'm gonna go Trent McDuffie.
Trent McDuffie?
Here with Stephon Gilmore.
Christian
that'll be
Watson.
my guess.
Christian
I think
Watson.
they go-
Oh, Watson's
I think-
interesting.
I think they get a backup for Matt Ryan to learn under, and I think they go Kenny Pickett.
Oh, well, Amir, okay? I'll pause the timer right here. Amir, you had the inside track because you know my preferences. With the 18th pick, the Colts take Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, I thought so.
Well, I was right in the beginning. I said
You were,
quarterback,
yeah,
right
no,
at the
you were,
beginning.
yeah, and Will, I think called that out as well. I'm going quarterback. Yep, we get. Look, I love Matt Ryan. I think that trade was an excellent idea by the Colts to do. Go for the win now mode, but we need a backup plan. Kenny Pickett, I could give a shit how small his hands are. Why is this an issue? I don't care. He is easily the best quarterback in this year's draft class. Yes, I said that. So we get the best quarterback in this draft at 18. That's an absolute steal. This is this year's version of Mac Jones.
Whoa.
Tad, weren't we? I could be way wrong here, but weren't during our Senior Bowl live stream you were calling Sam Howell the best quarterback in this class?
No. I said Sam Howell was my favorite sleeper. Sam Howell is my favorite sleeper.
All right.
Yeah,
You got to
he's
bet
my-
that he's a first-round pick still.
Oh yeah, no. Sam Howell will be a first-round pick. Bet on that. Wait till 32, wait till 32, my friend.
I'll take
Steven,
my,
take it
I'll take
away.
my odds
Say
on that
something.
one.
All right, so
Man,
any thoughts on Kenny Pickett here? Anybody want to give analysis here? Kenny Pickett to the Colts.
Yeah, I do not care about Kenny Pickett's hands because his film is awful.
Oh!
I do not see a first-round quarterback here, and the issue, so the Colts, right? You have Matt Ryan. You don't have any draft capital. Now you have less draft capital because you just traded them all for Kenny Pickett. It doesn't draft capital. Hey, I let you finish. Now let me.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
The
We're your
timeline
manners,
is
Tad,
not
come on.
making it. The timeline. Is
Look
not
at my
making
hat,
it.
man. This is.
So I'm just confused, man. You're trading away Pickett. You're trading away picks for Kenny Pickett when you have Matt Ryan. You don't have a left tackle. You don't have one receiver. You have one corner. You don't have another pass rusher. You have all these other needs, man. And if you like Kenny Pickett, whatever, I don't think he's a first-round quarterback. And to me, trading up for Kenny Pickett just for the Colts, I'm not about it personally.
Name one left tackle you'd take at this point.
I would take Zion Johnson and then figure.
He's
left
not a
tackle
tackle.
later.
He's a guard.
That's what I said. But I'm the Colts need a surefire thing right now.
Yeah, and a surefire thing is Kenny Pickett. He is going to be our surefire quarterback of the future.
I'll take the
Kenny
kid.
Pickett over Matt Ryan.
Yes, 100%. This pick I just made secure the Colts' future for the next decade, assuming he doesn't pull an Andrew Luck and retire out of nowhere.
Wait.
Wow.
You think Pickett's starting over Matt Ryan? Did I get that?
No. That's not what I'm saying. Matt Ryan is going to start the next year or two, and then once he retires, then we got Pickett till 2030.
Tad, I've
So
heard
you're
this
not-
story. His name is Jacob Eason, and it didn't work out.
Oh, how dare you, sir? No one was saying about Jacob Eason. What are you talking about?
Jacob Eason was a better prospect than Kenny Pickett was.
Facts.
By a long way. Yeah.
Facts.
Oh, I can't wait to prove you all wrong. This is gonna be sweet justice for me when Kenny Pickett ends up being amazing for whatever team drafts him. You guys are wrong. Kenny Pickett is the best quarterback in this year's draft class.
Okay, but the best quarterback in this year's draft class. What does that mean?
That means that he is going to. Okay, look, is Kenny Pickett the next Andrew Luck? No, but he is going to be a solid to good starting quarterback. Which at this point at 18, I'll take it.
So
He's
he's going to be
good.
like, he's going
How
to
do you
be,
post
he's
this
going
in
to
the
be
Colts
Derek, he's going to be like
community?
Baker Mayfield. Is that what he's going to be like?
Sure,
That's-
I'd be happy with that.
If you can
You're
get
happy with
Baker out of
trading
Kenny
up for
Pickett,
Baker Mayfield?
If you took Baker Mayfield at 18, you wouldn't be happy.
No.
No.
Really?
I would
Tad,
never
Really?
do
not
that.
interested- so
Because
you're not
again,
interested in
people are too hard on Baker. He was hurt all year last year. Before that, he actually had the best year of his career 2 years ago. So when he's not playing hurt, Baker's actually a solid quarterback. I will down on this hill. Kenny Pickett is better than Malik Willis.
I can tell.
Kenny Pickett is the best quarterback in this year's draft class. Is he going to be a star? Maybe not, but he will be absolutely valuable at 18. That's the way it is.
So you're
yeah,
gonna-
you're making
a
my
little
stomach
bit
sick,
here.
man. This is rough.
The coach.
I mean, guys, I will die on this hill, but Kenny Pickett, in 5 years, I'm going to be laughing at all of you while he is the Colts quarterback of the future.
I just want to have a live look. I want a live look at the Colts GM when he's like, all right, the pick is in. I'm so excited for Kenny Pickett. Is he going to be great? But
Here's the thing, though. No, here's the thing. If Kenny Pickett had to start right away, I do believe he'd bust. But if he learns behind Matt Ryan for a year or two, which he will in this situation, then he will end up being a good quarterback.
The Colts are a team that is struggling from the mistakes that the past GM made. That's why they lost Andrew Luck. They never protected him. You going to get Kenny Pickett?
But again, who am I going to take here? Who's going to protect it?
You can take the offensive tackle out of Central Michigan that played tight end. That's very.
He's not worth 18. No. What's his name? He's not worth that at 18. No.
But you're making the same mistake that the GM made prior to Chris Ballard. Like you're regressing. The culture coming to a window.
You're comparing me to Ryan Grigson? How dare you, sir?
The culture coming to a point they're in a window to win now. They're not going to win now with Kenny Pickett.
They're in win now. We just traded for a 32-year-old quarterback. What else are we doing if we didn't? We're not in win now mode.
That's a gap year.
Let's calm it down here.
What gap year? There's no gap year.
As much as I love roasting Tad as the rest of you do, let's move things along.
No, this is a good pick. Screw you guys.
Still have a lot of.
You know what? I'm doing the Cartman thing. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
We still have a lot of picks to get to. If anything, Tad gets another pick here now with the New Orleans Saints.
Is that an F? I'm trying to do an F.
No, that's not just
the right way.
I knew that. I knew that pick would trigger you guys. God damn it.
So let's get to number 19 here. The New Orleans Saints.
That is a great pick,
Tad
Will.
On the clock again. We're obviously going to be interested to hear what he picks for the New Orleans Saints. So Tad, take it away here.
All right, I was very focused on the Colts here, so I actually need to see what we're gonna do. All right, I need to put myself on the clock. All right, 2:15 starts
really
now.
Quick, Ryan Anderson, you are on mute, so if you've been making any comments, we haven't heard you.
I said it's time to move on from Kenny Pickett. Let's go.
You go. Okay.
Can we just say while Tad's doing his 2 minutes and probably he's going to give himself an extra 10 seconds for this pick?
Hey, I have 154 left. I'm being
applause for Mia Ray Dyrud over here. How well behaved.
Mia,
exactly.
Good job, Mia.
Applause for that, for sure.
Does she know we're giving her applause?
Just little feet coming in, but now I probably jinxed it. She's just going to be she's up way faster bedtime. So
I got my pick for the Saints.
All right, let's hear it.
Yep. Jinxed it.
There we go. Yeah, you can't jinx it like that, man.
We pressed our luck.
Whew, this is gonna be. I'll be interested to see your guys' reaction to this. The Saints select Devin Lloyd, linebacker at Utah.
Okay, interesting.
I think that. Look, I mean, I love this guy. Is actually shout out to the. Well, I was about to say blank screen, but he's back here now. Is Will Decker shouted this guy out because during the Senior Bowl live stream, I said this is a very weak linebacker class, and Will was like, "Have you seen Devin Lloyd's tape?" And I'm like, "No." And he was like, "Watch Devin Lloyd." And like, I have fallen in love with this guy. He is this year's Micah Parsons, and I am fully confident in that comparison. Is he can play outside linebacker, he can play inside linebacker, which is why he's the perfect fit for the Saints. They need both. And Mia clearly agrees with me. So this is why, is it the biggest name for the Saints? No, but he can be a leader going forward for New Orleans here. So they take their defensive leader right here in Devin Lloyd.
Lethal linebacking group, too, now with Demario Davis pairing him there. Devin Lloyd's just the most versatile linebacker in the class.
He's insane, dude.
And
he's crazy.
He just has an incredible IQ. I think I will take a smart linebacker, over just about anybody when it comes to that position, because you're calling the defense, you're making adjustments. He can blitz. He had 8 sacks last year. He had 4 interceptions, I believe. He, had 100+ tackles. He was always in the right place at the right time. Steven knows this as a Utah fan. He made big plays all the time for them. I look at the, Pac-12 championship game against Oregon, the play on the goal line against Stanford. I mean, just the instincts are crazy, and I just love everything about him. Let's take it to Steven, the Utah fan, man, because this is his
100%.
guy.
I was about to pass it to him. I was like, let's hear his love affair with Devin Lloyd. What do you think
real
about
quick,
the fit as well?
Real quick before you go, Steven, this is why I made this pick here, is because I don't even care where he goes on the Saints defense. He can fit anywhere on that defense. Just plug him in there. He'll help.
Yeah, first of all, I love this linebacker class, by the way. There's a bunch of dudes that I would
There's a lot of great picks,
with.
for sure.
But yeah, man, Devin Lloyd, as a Utah guy, I think he is unquestionably the best defensive player that we've had on campus. And, that list includes Eric Weddle and Sarlo Tulele and all these guys. So I love Devin Lloyd, man. I think he can do so many different things for any kind of defense, right? I mean, if you watch his tape against Oregon, you watch it against Alfred's Trojans. I mean, the man's putting offensive tackles in a blender as an outside linebacker. He can cover, he can hit, he can run. He didn't test super great in terms of the 40, in terms of the 3-cone. But athleticism is definitely not a question mark in my opinion, and he's got 34-inch arms. So Daniel Jeremiah is compared him to Darius Leonard, and I personally am a big fan of that comparison. As somebody that can just cover sideline to sideline, get the ball in a variety of ways, and create more opportunities. And hey, man, like he gets to sit next to DeMario Davis for the next couple of years and learn from one of the best linebackers to do it in our generation. So, as a selfish, Devin Lloyd fan, I love this landing spot for him, and I would be very happy as somebody who's a big fan of his to get him in New Orleans. So, I think this is a great pick for them. They need that other guy. I'm not a huge believer in Pete Warner, who plays next to DeMario Davis right now. Devin Lloyd just gives them so much more versatility. Dennis Allen loves to bring the heat, and I think Devin Lloyd is a great fit there.
Yeah, excellent pick. And Tad, I think you brought this up earlier, but New Orleans is usually always in cap hell. And the fact that you could bring in a young defender, a versatile defender, a top defender onto your defense and pay him the rookie salary, you're good for 5 years at least. So, yeah, excellent pick here. Excellent pick.
And the dude had more sacks than Thibodeau. Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, like that.
Oh.
How about that?
More games,
tidbit?
to be fair. More games.
Yes, yeah, of course. It's a loaded stat, but still wild.
He's a
All right,
stud, man.
let's move things along here. We got the number 20 selection here with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm officially on the clock. And, once again, the way that the board is playing out, I think this player sort of falls into the lap of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They need some help, I think, at different positions. They could use some corner help. They just signed Miles Jack, who's a very underrated signing. I think he's going to bring an upgrade to that linebacker group. Obviously, they have TJ Watt, excellent pass rush there. I think they're fine on defense. Offensive line, I think they could probably go with some upgrades. So, they could look at different offensive linemen that are out there right now. But, yeah, the fact that this guy is still on the board, Dan actually already predicted it. So, it's Malik Willis, the quarterback out of Liberty. They need a quarterback. I'm not saying that Mitchell Trubisky is going to be the long-term starter. I don't think anybody is saying that.
Oh, what? There's no explosion over that?
So I think the biggest thing is just you get a guy who can either come in during his rookie season, depending on how things work out with Mitchell Trubisky in this offense, or maybe they just let him sit and see how it goes out with Mitchell Trubisky. Because, maybe this second opportunity to start with Pittsburgh, it'll work out for a little bit, and you don't need to rush Malik Willis's development. And I think that would be good for him to learn, sit for a year, very similar to what the Niners are doing with Trey Lance, and some other quarterbacks have done that as well. So, but if he needs to play his rookie year, I think he has the potential. He'll have some growing pains. I think that's for sure. But I think he'll be able to learn from those growing pains. He's got a great offense there. He can run the RPO with Najee Harris. He's got Deontay Johnson on the outside. He's got Chase Claypool on the outside. Pat Freiermuth at the tight end position. So, and like I said, with that offensive line being a little weak, he's got legs, so he can move out, he can scramble, he can avoid the rush, not like Ben Roethlisberger, who was a statue in that pocket, chained to the pocket. So this is a very good move for them. I think he can develop here, and he can become a very, very good NFL quarterback with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I'm going to pass it to Will here. What are your thoughts about Malik Willis to the Pittsburgh Steelers?
He's my quarterback number one, and, I don't think he's a guy that you would want to play right away. I think he's kind of on a similar plan to that of Trey Lance, where you want to sit, develop the guy. But you look at the tape, and just the arm talent this guy possesses is just something you can't teach. He ran for over 1,000 yards, in a season, which is just another tool you can add to the toolbox. He can make all the throws on the run that, these quarterbacks, that the quarterback rooms are craving nowadays, where, he could go right out to his right side, hit a man in stride, 40, 50 yards downfield. I think he's the best if given, or at least has the highest ceiling, if those tools are, processed in the right manner. So I like the pick, and I like him in Pittsburgh. I don't want to see him starting maybe for a year, maybe even 2. But if you can get him out there in year 3 and he's ready to make things work, this could be a home run pick for the Steelers in their future.
So really quick, let's run back the last 5 picks. We had Tyler Linderbaum going to the Texans at number 16. Jameson Williams going to the Los Angeles Chargers at number 17. Kenny Pickett going to Indianapolis Colts to back up Matt Ryan at number 18. Devin Lloyd going to the New Orleans Saints at number 19. And just recently taken Malik Willis at number 22, the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now we got Ryan Anderson back on the board. He is selecting for the New England Patriots. Ryan Anderson, you're officially on the clock.
I'm not listening to Lovie Smith. I'm not listening to Nick Caserio. You know who I'm listening to? Bill Belichick. You know who Bill Belichick wants? You know who Bill Belichick? He called me up this morning. He says, Ryan, you know who we should draft? George Karlaftis.
All right.
And I am in favor of that. I am 100% in on board with what Bill Belichick wants. He's a you can do it everything player. He's got the motor, he's got the hustle, and that's what the Patriots defense needs.
All right,
There
Tad,
you
any
go.
2 cents there on Karlaftis?
I mean, I like it. Like again, I keep on shouting out our episode last night, but Amar, I had him at what, 18, 16, something like
Yeah,
that?
you had him at 18, and then I had him at 19 with the original pick for the Eagles.
Right. So we said it's crazy because, you see guys like Sauce Gardner, whose stock is rising, and a certain player I won't name because I still hope to land him. You see certain players' stocks rising very quickly, but this is a guy's stock who is falling very quickly. And I think it sounds mean, but rightfully so, because he has that athleticism. I do understand the love for him or the promise in his talent, but he just didn't show it in production. So if he's going to go to a team, this is the team to go to, because God knows they make the most out of guys that underperform and the guys that tend to slip. So this is a perfect fit, but I think this is the absolute best area for him to go in to the first round, because if he goes top 10, way too early for Karlaftis, but he's a freak athlete. He just needs to work on his moves a little bit more. So real quick, because I'll be very interested, because I've only watched, I won't say a little bit, but I can't get a good feel for him. Will, what's your take on Karlaftis? Because for me, good athlete, I think he needs to work on his technique a bit.
High motor guy, and he just, is able to solidify himself on the edge by making big time plays. High motor, quicker than you think on the outside. Technique is not perfect. I think, that's going to an NFL room is going to really help him with that. But a guy that, really screams Ryan Kerrigan 2.0, I think that's just the name.
I think we said that on the podcast last night, actually.
Yeah, he's just a guy that you could pencil in to, show up every Sunday and just give hell to these left tackles, or right tackles, wherever you want to line them up. Series in and series out, because he's just relentless when it comes to the pass rush room. Good measurables, good size. Should be an 8 to 9 sack guy. I don't think he's ever going to lead the league in sacks, but should be close to that 10 sack range if he reaches his ceiling each and every year.
He wants to wreck the field, and I think he can. That's what he wants to do, and he's going to impose his will.
Pair him up with Matthew Judon. That's a pretty serious pass rush right there. So let's see what goes on now at number 22 with the Green Bay Packers on the clock. So Alfred, my man, we haven't heard from you in a bit. So who do you think the Packers are taking here at number 22 overall?
So they got Debo now.
Yes, they do.
Boom.
But I mean, they have. I mean, in my opinion, one of the top quarterback in the NFL, who they got back for 3 years, but they have nobody to protect him. They have. I don't know if it's official yet, but Bakhtiari, he's not the guy anymore. He's can't stay healthy, can't do anything. Have to protect him. Have to keep him happy because he does have high emotions. Got to keep number 12 happy because of his emotions. But they are. They have to do a couple more things, but this is the first position that they have to take. I'm going to take this guy. It might be a shocker, but reading him, watching him, looking at his numbers, he's very, very athletic for his position. He changed his position in college. I mentioned him earlier, but I'm going to take a tackle. I'm going to take Bernard Renman from Central Michigan. Athletic,
Okay.
former tight end, can move, very long arms. Those edge rushers in the NFL are faster than a lot of people think. He could cut a lot of edge rushers off. He'll be very good at that spot.
Okay.
Love his side.
By the way, he's rated the second offensive tackle this year, only giving up 10 sacks.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting pick there. We're going to move things pretty quickly here. We only got a handful of picks left. Next up are the Arizona Cardinals. So, Will, I know you're a Niners fan, but you got to pick for our divisional opponent here in the Arizona Cardinals. So where do you think they go at number 23?
Yeah, let me just pull up who's been taken. So I was going to go Karlaftis. That's off the board. I was thinking about another receiver. All the top receivers that I was considering, are off the board. I think Christian Watson is a guy you can consider. But the guy I'm going to go with is the guy that Steven's handle is right now. It's Zion Johnson. They really need help. Zion Johnson, his story is insane. He actually went to Davidson College, where Steph Curry went. Walked on there, tried to make a career for himself. Was good enough to go to Boston College after 2 years because one of the line coaches that was at Boston College made a name for himself there. Very versatile guy. I mean, he had an 84 grade, second in the ACC, 4 guards at Boston College. The versatility, I mean, he had a very strong Senior Bowl week, which I really, hold into account for these prospects. And at the end of the day, he was taking center snaps. He's willing to do whatever it takes to get on the field. I think his best future is at the guard position. This guy was mauling guys when it came to the Senior Bowl, and you look at his tape, I mean, it was outstanding. Give me Zion Johnson to the Cardinals, and let's try to make Kyler Murray happy. That's what I'd be doing if I was Steve Keim and the Cardinals.
All right, sounds good. So Tad was visibly upset about that. So maybe that was a pick.
That was my pick for the Cowboys, man.
That was a consideration for the pick. Cowboys at number 24. But Tad, you're officially on the clock here with the Dallas Cowboys. Where are you going to go?
All right. I don't know. Hold on. let me start the clock. Okay. Let's see. I'll give shout outs for where I should go here, guys.
I'm not Jerry.
Do my job for me.
McDuffie.
Do what you want.
McDuffie.
All right, we're hearing Trent McDuffie out there.
Yeah, no, not
I love
McDuffie.
Tyler Smith, apparently.
Tyler Smith, offensive tackle out of Tulsa.
Because Anthony Brown is, honestly, in my opinion, Anthony Brown is one of the more underrated cornerbacks in the league.
Jordan Davis is still in the clock.
I'm thinking of, you know what? I think that's going to be, that's who I was thinking of as well.
Kenyon Green from Texas A&M, I think.
Yeah, see, it's a little too early for Kenyon. It's a little too early for Kenyon Green. Let's think about that.
Hey, if it's your guy, it's never too
We
early.
also got Devontae White, who brings you a little bit more versatility.
You know what? I'm going to go with Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis, okay.
I will give someone, I will Venmo you $10 if you can tell me the starting defensive tackles for the Cowboys right now.
Sean Willis and Tommy Willis.
Nope.
Twins.
Shocking that they do not share the same last name.
I think one is Neville Gallimore.
Do they have Osa? Odigizua?
Odigizua?
Isn't he over there?
He's one of them, but he's not their starter.
Like I said, I think one is Neville Gallimore.
Nope. It's Tristan Hill and Carlos Watkins.
Okay.
I was close though.
You were close. Bottom line, they need defensive tackle help, defensive line. Obviously, the interior offensive line, especially with Zeke Elliott, supposedly hitting the twilight of his career, as it seems. Interior offensive line is the focus there. So I do.
Oh, fantastic! He cuts off mid takes.
There we go. Am I back now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Okay, there we
Let's
go.
wrap up your take here. Come on.
Kenyon Green's interesting, but I think it's a little too early for him. So Jordan Davis, go with that pick right now. Is kind of shore up that defensive line. Hope that you go kind of shore up that offensive line as the draft goes along. Because this is a super, super deep offensive line draft class. We should be okay.
All right. I think that's an excellent pick to that.
Dan, don't do it.
Now we're going to go to number 25, the Buffalo Bills. We got Dan Wilkenstein back on the clock. Who do you think you're going to go with here at number 25 overall?
Don't do it, Dan.
I already know who I'm getting, and the fact that this guy's still available is pretty shocking to me if I'm a Bills GM. I could use some interior offensive line. Zion Johnson was definitely someone that I was looking to get. Wide receiver was a position that I was looking for, but I think all the guys that I think would be worth taking here, I could reach for Christian Watson, but I just don't see it. They need cornerback help. That's one of the biggest needs. Arguably one of the cleanest corners in this draft class. I know people sometimes get a little bit shaky, weary because of measurables. I know Trent McDuffie does have a bit shorter arms than you would like. There's some other guys. Kyrie Elam's out there as well. Andrew Booth is out there.
What is with this group's obsession with arms?
But in terms of the highest floor, I think Trent McDuffie out of Washington is probably going to be the best and most consistent corner out of the gate. And I'm taking Trent McDuffie to the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Love it.
Excellent pick there. Excellent.
Damn
pick
it,
there.
Dan.
So,
Great.
Real
Dan,
quick.
guess what? Go for it.
Real quick. and I know we're touching as long as the actual first round of the draft. But I want to go around the horn, like literally no analysis. Just give me a ranking, just for some fun talk. Who right now, especially with this pick in the AFC, is better than the Bills? Will go.
Man, that's a
Shit.
great
Hold on.
question.
I need to look that up real quick.
I'd say the Chargers have a chance to challenge. I really believe that. I'm not even a Chargers fan at the end of the day. I just love what they've got going on. I think the Broncos might be able to sneak in there if they get this version of Russ that we could anticipate. Not ready to
Great.
count on Mahomes. But yeah, I mean, I think the Bills, if you're betting odds right now, that'd be the team that I would go with.
Perfect. Alfred, go.
No one. They have the best defense in the AFC.
Love it. Steven, go.
No one.
Dan, go.
Crickets.
Skinny T.
I'm looking. I mean, I can't find anybody.
No,
I mean,
Tad.
Browns,
Get off Wikipedia.
Bengals.
maybe? Browns, maybe.
Bengals.
Depends
okay.
how much.
First
Big pick
Bengals,
there.
okay.
Watson's got to play a full season, man. Otherwise,
Bengals, that offense, man, if they're full power and healthy, whoo!
I'm still waiting for Deshaun to get suspended 8 games and Baker just to ball out of his mind for 8 games, and then they have a real
That'd be
dilemma
beautiful.
of what goes
That
on.
would be hilarious.
That would be interesting.
All right.
That would be interesting.
Go ahead, Amar. Move us along.
Uh,
I just had to throw it in there.
It's all good. It's all good. My pick would be no one either. I think the Bills are the top in the AFC right now. There's teams to challenge them, but yeah, as of right now, they're the best. Dan, we're going back to back with you because you got the Tennessee Titans now on the clock here at number 26 overall. So yeah, take it away.
Now, this is a fun one. There's a couple guys here that I think the Titans would be gushing over. And arguably, I think 2, are probably, I don't think one of these guys is going to be there. But Trevor Penning, offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa, the fact that he's fallen to 26, I find is a bit surprising. I think that would go along really well with kind of the attitude, the nastiness that I think Tennessee Titans fans are used to with Derrick Henry, with Rabel, that whole crew. It would be a good fit there. They also could go wide receiver to help with A.J. Brown a bit, and seeing someone like a Jahan Dotson still available, I think is somewhat of a sneaky possibility here. Devin Lloyd would have been my pick here if he was available. I think it's a little bit too rich for Nakobe Dean. So, wide receiver. I'm going to go Trevor Penning. I think it's the one that probably gives them the most value right out the gate. So, Trevor Penning, Northern Iowa.
Excellent pick there. They could use some more protection for Ryan Tannehill. Just to review some of the more recent picks that have just happened, we have Bernard Bryman going 22 to the Green Bay Packers, Zion Johnson going 23 to the Arizona Cardinals, Jordan Davis going to the Dallas Cowboys at number 24, Trent McDuffie going to the Buffalo Bills at number 25, and most recently Trevor Penning going to the Tennessee Titans at number 6. So now we're going to pass it over to Ryan Dyrud to make the selection for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All right. The Bucs, the team that doesn't really need much. It's one of those interesting spots where it's like, okay, how long is Brady going to play? Like, will we think about the quarterback future there? I don't think they do. I don't think he's coming back.
Hey, they have Kyle Trask, sir.
Well, regardless, I don't give a shit who they have. I don't think Brady's coming back if he knows they're taking a quarterback in the first round and hurting his chances at another ring. Not that they necessarily need it. Let's see here. I mean, they don't have a ton of needs. I guess interior offensive line would probably be a need. You got Kenyon Green there at Texas A&M. That would probably be a solid pick there for them. Some safety
Ryan, check your
need.
phone. Ryan, check your
Okay.
phone.
Okay.
You're getting hit up, man.
Don't do it, Ryan.
Oh. Yeah, okay. I'll do that trade, Alfred.
No, don't do it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
What is the trade here?
I'll do that trade. All right.
All right,
A
good deal.
second and a third, and I move back to 30.
Okay, so the Bucks are now at 30.
Damn it.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, Alfred. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're going for too. Damn it.
And then at number
Not Devontae White.
27 is the Chiefs, who is now Alfred. And Alfred, you go ahead and start naming your pick while I'm doing all this.
All right, so I mean, if we're going with this, I just got DK Metcalf, so I pretty much solved the Chiefs' problem. The mad scientist is still there. The offense is going to do what they're going to do. Pat Mahomes hasn't gone anywhere. They still have Harmon. They got Juju Smith-Schuster. They still got Edwards-Helaire. They got the running back. The offense is now fine. The biggest problem is with the Chiefs was their defense. That's what's going to keep them from completely going over the hill to be the dynasty team that they need. I needed a corner. McDuffie's gone. I have to take the next available corner. So I'm going to take Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson.
Oh, good pick.
Yeah, that's a good trade. Good,
Excellent
good
pick
value
there.
for both teams.
Yeah. I was telling Amar, I honestly see Andrew Booth as a top 10 talent. I don't understand why he's... Well, maybe you can explain this to me. Why is he not being more hyped up? Like, this dude is legit.
Andrew Booth?
Yes.
He has excellent film. I like what I've seen from him. There's some knee issues, I believe, some medical report that's not coming out in favor of Booth that has made him slide down boards a little bit. What if you're getting the player that I've seen on tape? It's a hell of a pick this late in the first round. Big gamble. It kind of reminds me very different injuries of blanking off the top of my head. The Titans cornerback they drafted last year.
Caleb Farley.
Exactly. Yeah. Not very different injuries, but very similar scenarios. It's like you're taking a gamble selecting this guy, that could, be sitting out for a serious amount of time if those injuries keep on lingering. Booth here is a great pick. I think it would be a home run. You're gambling at the end of the first round. It's just a gamble in general. So, yeah, I don't mind it.
Steven, your 2 cents here?
Yeah, so Andrew Booth, for me, I had him as my third cornerback up until we found out about the health concerns. So he had what's it called, Oshloger's disease as a kid.
I have that.
Knee tendonitis. Yeah. So he had knee tendonitis all throughout high school. Actually had to get a surgery done as a freshman, and he's had 2 core muscle surgeries as well. So I really like Andrew Booth, the player, but the health concerns for me I have taken him down my personal board.
I had Oshgood Slaughters is what it is.
Oshgood Slaughters, thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
I have that giant Easter egg on my knee. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yep, that's the one.
I had a similar condition in college called Goldschlager's disease. It was rough.
I had the same disease, dude. It was tough.
Wow.
It was caused by a woman named Rachel.
I had a very similar disease. It's called laziness.
This is different. This is different than that.
I think you guys are on different pages there, Tad.
Mine was active. He was just drinking very active.
Sounds like the Texans are in good hands, Skinny T. In great hands.
Lovey Smith out.
All right, fellas, we're in the home stretch here. We got our final 5 picks here. So next on the clock is number 28, the San Francisco 49ers, thanks to the trade of Deebo Samuel to the Green Bay Packers. So this may be a little bit of a reach here, but I think the pairing is going to be excellent, and I think it's really just going to help assuage some of the concerns on the offense, especially with Trey Lance coming in to be the starter in 2022. And it's Christian Watson, the wide receiver out of North Dakota State. You could see what Cincinnati did when they paired up Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. It was a match made in heaven. They obviously reached the Super Bowl. Jamar Chase was just balling out, and Joe Burrow felt that comfortable, that chemistry was there. So it's like you want to see that sort of similar thing with the trade of Deebo Samuel. You bring in a guy who Trey Lance is familiar with. You can build a chemistry really quickly, and I think he's just going to hit the ground running. He's a speed guy. He's got the size. I mean, he's just a dangerous, dangerous athlete. And so, yeah, maybe a little bit of a reach here, especially with some people that may value Jahan Dotson a little bit higher than Christian Watson. But I think the fit here to pair him up with Trey Lance, you can't mess that up. So the pick here, Christian Watson, wide receiver, North Dakota State, to the San Francisco 49ers. So we do have 2 Niner fans on here along with myself, so I want to hear from both of them. Let's get to Ryan Anderson first. What are your thoughts here, Christian Watson, 28 to the 49ers?
Definitely a reach. Definitely something I wasn't expecting. I mean, you still got Sky Moore. You still got George Pickens still on the board. So, I mean, I throw it back to you, Amar. What is it that you see that I'm not versed in Christian Watson. What is it that sent him over the top?
For sure. So, like I said, I think it's the main thing is just the pairing of between Trey Lance, and as he left, as I give him my analysis here. But yeah, I think just the biggest thing, I mean, just to echo everything that I kind of said, was just the pairing of Christian Watson and Trey Lance. I mean, we were watching this during the Senior Bowl, Will and Tad, that is just like, he was making play after play. There's lots of opportunities to even make more plays, but some of the quarterback play limited him. But it's like I said, he's got the side, he's got the speed. If Kyle Shanahan wants to, he can use him very similar to the way Deebo Samuel was using him. So, I mean, I just see that a lot more compared to some other the receivers that are still on the board there. But yeah, Will, I'd love to hear your two cents here on this one really fast.
Yeah, I mean, you invested your future in Trey Lance. Whether that works or not, you want to make him as comfortable as possible. They have a previous relationship. And it's not only that. I mean, you could, draft this guy if he was not very good later in the draft, but it was his testing measurables. And I personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the measurables and what that, we talked about Tavon Walker earlier in this draft. You can either play or you can't. Watson can clearly play, but you add that with, he ran a 4.36 40 time. He's 6'4", everything you would want, vertical leap, 38 inches. Like, he checked a lot of boxes. He scored a 10 on the RAS score, which is the raw athletic score. The guy is, he's an athletic freak, and you pair that with a big arm like Lance, that could potentially pay off for the Niners. I don't think it's a bad pick. I think 49ers fans should, be rejoicing if they can get a Christian Watson and pair him with a Trey Lance.
All right, let's move things along here. We got number 29. We got the Seattle Seahawks, thanks to that DK Metcalf trade. So, Alfred, you're on the clock here for the Seattle Seahawks.
Ridiculous trade, by the way.
Will, do you want to do it or you want me to do it?
That is true. Will, this is your team, but yeah, we were told before the call started that you may be having to need to take your flight here. But yeah, this is your team, so you're more than welcome to take the pick.
Yeah, let me do a double check right here on some of the best available.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one doing that. I'm literally doing that right now.
So
what time is your flight, by the way, Will?
What's up?
What time is your flight, by the way? Are you like a red eye?
Oh, it's tomorrow morning. It's at like 7 a.m. So I was going to hit the hay early, but...
Oh, you're just trying to go to bed. Oh, you got all night. We're good. Let's keep this thing rolling. All right.
This is too fun. He couldn't leave.
Yeah, it's good.
So this is a gamble, man. Like, I'm going to go receiver here because they just traded Metcalf. They've got to replace that. I'm still not set on drafting a quarterback, even though Desmond Ritter's on the board. I know he's got injury history, but everything that I've heard, like, if this guy was healthy last year, this guy could be like a top 3 receiver in this class. I'm going George Pickens. End of the first round, you can make picks. Very big, athletic receiver out of Georgia. When he was healthy, he made big-time plays. Yes, the injury concerns are there, but I think if this guy can get healthy, and from all the testing processes I've seen, how he's going through the pre-draft process, he looks like he's back to being the Pickens that we saw once again. So I think George Pickens here for the Seahawks, for a team that just lost Metcalf, that's not in a position to reach for a quarterback when next year they'll probably be a bottom 5 team. I go Pickens here, give my future quarterback a good wide receiver.
All right. Interesting. Let's move these along. We're finally into the 30s. Last 3 picks here. So Ryan Dyer, thanks to that trade back with Alfred. You're now on the clock here, number 30 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So take it away.
Yeah, I think the board's falling well for them, and you're still in a spot where, again, they do not need. I mean, there's not a lot of needs there, right? But I think you see a corner like, hey, stop that. Daughter's just bashing my sound equipment over here. Got a guy like Elam sitting there, out of Florida at corner, and it's not like a huge need necessarily, but I think it fits well with what they want. It fits well with what they can build around, and you, like I said, when you draft, especially this late in the draft, if you can look from year 1 and 2, not for like right now, I think you're doing things right. So I think Elam is a slam dunk pick, and you're just making the rich richer. Unfortunately for the Buccaneers, it seems like every year these good teams just have great players fall to them somehow because we get silly picks like Kenny Pickett at 18 to the Colts, and you just get guys falling.
I think you mean the best pick of the first round there.
Honestly,
Ryan, stop rubbing your eyes, man.
I really like.
I see you down there.
Dan, you got your thoughts here on Kyrie?
Go ahead.
No, just quickly, I like Kyrie Elam. He's actually my CB3 in this class. I think he has a super high ceiling. I think he can go up against bigger wide receivers. This is a steal to be able to get this low in the draft. 4'3", 6'2", 190. I mean, you can't beat this guy at 30. It's crazy.
Yeah,
that is pretty insane.
exactly.
That is pretty insane. So we got our buddy Tad's going to wrap it up with the final 2 picks. So at number
Sure, I'm not
31
gonna make
first
anyone
is
upset here.
Gotta
Final
end
2
with some
picks going to take
excitement, right?
25 minutes, but we'll get through it.
That's a cheap shot. Come on.
I love it. I love it. The bossman laying it down.
Jesus.
So first
Cheap
up, we
shot,
got-
but very earned at that point.
But first up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals at number 31. So Tad, who do you think you're going to take here?
All right, so let me tell you a story here. No, I'm just kidding.
That was too good.
And we're done.
30 minutes later, the picks announced. This was actually tough because the Bengals are pretty, all-around solid roster. But this is a guy, I'm going to admit, I just have a draft crush on this guy. And I think that he will, fulfill a leadership role with a very young team here with the Cincinnati Bengals. With the third first overall pick, I have the Bengals taking Nakobe Dean.
Hey.
Good pick. Good pick.
Right?
It's a bit of a reach. It's a bit of a reach, but
a bit of a reach, but again, it's a leadership thing, right? Like I think he fits the leadership. He has that versatility, kind of like what we talked about with pass linebackers. It's not an immediate need for the Bengals, but there's no cornerback there. You could argue Kenyon Green, but with what the Bengals have done in free agency, I think their offensive line's pretty set at this point. So just go for the guy that's going to be the leader of your defense going forward. They got Burrow on offense. They just need a leader on the defense now. So that's why I took Nakobe Dean right here.
It's not a bad pick to pair him up with Logan Wilson, who is a really promising linebacker that they drafted out of Wyoming, if I remember correct. It might have been Appalachian State. But yeah, those two guys would be
Wyoming, yeah.
fearsome. They'd be a very fearsome duo for the linebacking core there. So, all right, Tad, let's wrap it up here. This is the second pick that the Lions have in the first round. They already took Trayvon Walker, which was a little bit of a controversial pick by me. But let's see what happens here at 32 to close out the first round. Tad, who are you going to go with?
Can't wait for this one.
It's going to be a quarterback.
Wait, you guys.
Yeah,
you
it's
guys
going to be a quarterback.
gosh.
It's going to be a quarterback. Yeah, it's going to be a quarterback.
wait, you guys split Lions picks though?
Yeah, we didn't want it. There was we didn't want it to be, bias of because I had the Saints number 3, so I didn't want to take the Lions at number 2, so that the Saints for sure would get Evan Neal. So that's the reason behind that.
I respect it. All right.
All right, screw it. Let's go with it. Lions at 32. Take Sam Howell.
Oh, okay.
There he is. There he is.
All right, Tad.
Okay,
so
I
obviously
get it.
You spoke
like
of
a
his love
child
affair
that
during
walks
the
into the
Senior
middle
Bowl.
of
I'm scared.
I'll give you another chance here to sort of reason as to why.
All right, so I really don't understand the hype around Desmond Ridder because, the news broke that he actually had a visit with the Seahawks, who may take him at number 9 now. I don't understand it. This dude gets pressured, he freaks out. Watch the Alabama game. Anytime he is put under pressure, he freaks out, throws the ball away. So Desmond Ridder, and this is a note I had during the Senior Bowl back in January, he is a high-end backup. He is not a starter. Sam Howell, on the other hand, is he a little bit, does he have some stuff to work on? Absolutely. But if he can develop behind Jared Goff for a while, because for whatever reason, Dan Campbell likes Jared Goff, so I think they're going to give him another year. But if Sam Howell can develop for a bit behind someone, I think that he can actually develop into a solid starting quarterback. So that is why I'm taking Sam Howell over Desmond Ridder.
Okay, interesting.
I respect the analysis.
Anybody got 2 cents on that?
That sounds like I respect analysis, but I don't agree with it.
Less accurate Baker Mayfield for me, so not very good, but
I don't hate that comparison. I think that's a fair comparison.
yeah.
I think he has a lot of composure issues. When he was if you go back and watch the North Carolina State game when they lost, he struggled when the game was on the line. When it's time for him to step up, he wasn't that guy.
Well, and that's fair, but again, composure, I'm glad you brought that up because composure issues is why I went with him over Desmond Ridder. Because while he definitely does have composure issues, it's much less than Ridder. Ridder is so used to just going up against, I don't know, who's in the AAC? like
Houston.
UCF or something like that, or Houston or something like that, where like, okay, I don't really have that much pressure, and then the second he goes up against NFL tier pressure with Alabama, then he starts like freaking out and just throwing the ball all over the place, and that to me was a huge red flag. So I like Ritter. Don't get me wrong, I like Ritter, but I like him as a long-term backup in the NFL rather than a starter. So that's why Ritter. I'm very glad no one picked him in the first round.
I think in this quarterback class, one of these guys is a really good quarterback. So I like you're just kind of like your shotgun, just pick whatever guy is going to be out there. So one of these guys.
See, Mia agrees with me.
Yeah.
She knows what she's talking about. Yes! Preach, Mia!
I think it's more the fact that it's like, yeah, we are reaching the 2-hour mark, but thankfully we have finished all 32 picks. I appreciate everybody that stuck around. Unfortunately, Steven had to log off early. But
Yeah. Now Ryan's got the right idea. Everyone wipe for the rouse. Like we're, woo!
So we appreciate Steven joining us and giving his analysis. So really quick, I want to go around the horn. I want to give everybody a chance to sort of plug stuff that they're working on for the site or things that are coming up in the future. So I'm going to start at the bottom here. Ryan Anderson, why don't you plug whatever you're working on?
Yeah, I got a couple of more draft profiles coming out for the Rams, and then I'm going to be in Las Vegas for the draft with Will Decker and Ryan Dyrud and
Nice.
all. So we're gonna have a good time out there. So tune in for that. That's gonna be a really good time.
Awesome. That's good stuff. Get some live draft coverage. I love it. So Dan Wolkenstein, why don't you plug whatever you're working on here next? You're on mute, my friend.
There we go.
Yeah,
there it is. Yep.
There we go. It took me 2 hours to figure that mute button out. Dan Wolkenstein from Chargers Unleashed. This has been a ton of fun. We have some episodes coming up, possibly some special guests. Obviously, we've got some draft coverage. We'll be going through kind of position breakdowns as we get closer and closer to next Thursday. Otherwise, follow me at Chargers Homer or at LAC_Unleashed is our podcast.
Wait, Dan, you gotta.
She's a fan.
Dan, you gotta drop You gotta drop the biggest news happening, like the biggest draft selection happening in the Wolkenstein house. Come on now.
Oh, that's true. There is going to be a number 1 overall pick for the Wolkenstein family next month. I bet you have a baby girl coming.
Hey!
That deserves a round of applause for sure.
Thank you.
Awesome
Yeah, so
stuff.
number 1 in my heart and my wife's heart, but yeah, excited. Thank you, Ryan.
Do we have a name yet?
We do not have a name. We're kind of waiting to see what she looks like.
Ryan,
And
I
Ryan,
heard that one before. That's interesting.
Yeah, all right.
All right, Alfred, why don't you plug whatever you're working on right now?
Salute Detroit podcast. I'm gonna be working on a spring ball recap. I got a couple things already posted. We broke down Lincoln Riley like to the T, all the way down to skin and bones, and pretty much what to expect this year from USC. But pretty much that's it. Once we get in the season, we'll be full speed ahead.
Awesome. Good stuff. Tad, why don't you plug the stuff that we're working on?
I mean, guys, like I said to all of you, thank you so much for joining. This was so much fun. I know we went slightly over the hour mark we were aiming for, but this hopefully was as fun for you as it was for us. As always, for our listeners, thank you so much for listening. You can find us at Desai Guys on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Amar, what am I missing here? This is usually your job.
Yeah, Twitter. I mean, we got Instagram.
Twitter,
We got a lot of
Instagram.
things going on.
Well, supposedly we have Instagram. One of our posts got removed for copyright issues, but we're working on that. So thank you as always. So be sure to check that out. And a very exciting announcement is while Will and Ryan and everyone else are going to be in Las Vegas, Amar and I, and maybe some other people, will be live streaming our reactions to the first round of the NFL Draft next Thursday. So if you would like to tune in for that, we will be live on the LAFB network live stream on YouTube. So be sure to check that out. And guys, as always, we have tons of podcasts coming out. Will's doing draft stuff. We have gambling stuff. We have so many podcasts. Every single person here is producing awesome content. So be sure to check that out. Be sure to check us out on LAFBnetwork.com. They also have an Instagram account that does not get posts taken down because they're smarter than we are. They have a Twitter account and everything else, and everyone's account on Twitter and Instagram is listed here, so be sure to check them out. And guys, thank you so much for joining us here. This was an awesome time, and you know what? We're just a year away from doing this yet again.
All right, Tad taking a 2-sentence close off. To make
come on! That was like minutes.
We do have other
that wasn't ranting. I'm trying to give everyone their shout outs. Screw you guys. I'm out of here. I'm going home.
We still have 2 people that want to plug here. So, Will, why don't you plug this?
Why'd you?
Man, just check out everything LAFB.
I thought that was our closeout.
Subscribe button. We got a lot of good content coming on YouTube. Big things in the works for LAFB in this next year. So stay tuned for all the great content.
100% accurate. And, of course, we got to close it out with the boss man. You got to let us know all the fun stuff happening with LAFB Network.
You do not need to close out with me. I think Tad did enough of that.
Whatever. Go ahead.
Rewind 45 seconds and he can close it out.
It's just you guys need to put me on a
all of us. Yeah,
this is the problem is we need to just do what baseball is doing and put me on a pitch count.
Yeah, we're like a shot clock or something. But no, great stuff. Thank you all. Always a blast. Glad Mia made it through somehow. Way past.
Shout out to
time.
Mia, by the way.
Yeah.
Another round of applause there.
Thanks, Summer, for keeping us about at an hour. Appreciate you. That was good. No. Hey, this is a blast. Thank you all, guys. LFB, we got so much fun stuff coming up in the next not just week, but in the next year, 2 years. I think we have so much fun stuff planned, and it's not couldn't happen with all the 9-10 guys that have been on here plus many others. So make sure to stay tuned for all of that. And yeah, we'll be in Vegas, around Vegas, in SoCal, all during the draft, doing some cool stuff. So, but thanks, boys, for putting this on. Great shit.
Yep, exciting stuff before the draft, and of course for the future too here at LAFB Network. Everybody's doing such great work. Appreciate it once again, everybody joining us for this mock draft. It was a ton of fun, and looking forward to the future, guys. And to everybody that's watching, listening, we just can't thank you guys enough. And yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube as well as wherever you listen to your podcast. So, thanks so much, guys.
Wait, I have one more speech.